Chapter 268. Go out and fight. Chu Xiaobai raised his brows. Let's go. Mo Chuan was even happier. Two figures flew out the window. Their movements were as light and fast as a breeze, causing Xiao Ru to give a surprised cry. Aya, the immortal young master flew away again. Chen Ning silently rolled her eyes at Xiao Ru. Then she rubbed her sore but as she climbed up from the ground. She said to Xiao Ru, go get a bowl of chilly water. What? Xiao Ru didn't hear clearly and stared at Chen Ning with wide eyes. Chilly water. The spicier the better. If those two bastards dare come back, I'll treat them to a good drink. Chen Ning said through gritted teeth. Although Xiao Ru didn't understand her meaning, she still obediently brought over a large bowl of chilly water. It was bright red and it was filled with chopped red peppers. Chen Ning was very satisfied seeing this. She patted Xiao Ru's shoulder and praised, good job. Good Xiao Ru, go back to sleep. Xiao Ru blinked and pointed out the window as she said, young miss, the white-clothed immortal young master is fighting with bodyguard He in the yard outside. Let them fight. Even if they break a hole in the sky, it has nothing to do with us. Let's go to sleep. Chen Ning climbed into the bed and covered her head with the blanket. She closed her eyes and fell asleep. Who would have thought that Xiao Ru would charge in after she slept for a while, loudly shouting. Young miss, this is bad. Bodyguard He kicked away the parrot cage and all the parrots in the cage flew away. Chen Ning did not move and did not even lift her eyelids. Tell housekeeper Su tomorrow and have him send 10 more parrots over. After a while. Young miss, this is bad. The immortal crane in the yard was slapped to death by the white-clothed immortal young master. Xiao Ru charged into the room in a panic. What? Chen Ning was about to sit up, but when she heard that it was the immortal crane that died, she laid back down without any expression. Write it down and have housekeeper Su send 5 more over tomorrow. After a while. Young miss, the immortal young master and bodyguard He fell into the pond together. They're all dead. Xiao Ru charged in while gasping for breath. They're all dead. Chen Ning jumped up from the bed and her eyes popped out. She grabbed Xiao Ru and said, tell me clearly, how did you die? Ku. Xiao Ru was choked to the point where she couldn't breathe. They fell into the pond and were still fighting. As they fought, the fish in the pond flipped over one by one and floated to the surface. They were all dead. Who? Chen Ning let out a long sigh. She angrily slapped the back of Xiao Ru's head. You little girl, your words aren't clear. It's just a few dead fish, write it down and have housekeeper Su buy them again tomorrow. Xiao Ru. Xiao Ru, obediently go to sleep. No matter who dies outside, you're not allowed to come in and wake me up. Otherwise, I'll catch you. Chen Ning glared at Xiao Ru and made a threatening gesture. Chen Ning slept all the way until the sun rose. She stretched lazily and turned over. As soon as she opened her eyes, she was startled. A handsome face suddenly appeared in front of her. That pair of beautiful black eyes were filled with color. Seeing that she was awake, he suddenly revealed a gentle smile that was like a pear blossoming. Chapter 269. Chen Ning was still feeling sleepy. She rubbed her eyes and said, why are you here? You and Xiao Hei's fight is over and you're not going to fight anymore. I'm not fighting anymore. Chu Xiaobai nodded and said, Ning, does your arm still hurt? It was all my fault last night, accidentally injuring you. You won't be angry with me, right? His voice was very careful and his eyes were filled with guilt. Because of a moment of impulse, he had caused her to be injured. Thinking about it, he wanted to punch himself a few times. But his body had suffered quite a bit from Imo Chuan's fists. There were several places that were green and purple, making him grit his teeth in pain when he touched them. Of course, he would not tell her a single word about this. In front of her, he still had that spring-like smile on his face. "I'm not angry." Chen Ning's eyes turned. Chu Xiaobai's heart filled with joy, but he heard her tone change. As if. His brows immediately drooped down and he said in a dejected voice, "Ning, I know I was wrong. I also killed a crane in your yard." He. Chen Ning curled her lips into a smile as she looked at him. "You also killed all the carps in my pond. That's not just my fault, there's also that brat He." Chu Xiaobai said in an unconvinced voice, but he quickly looked down under Chen Ning's gaze. He said in a slow voice, I'll compensate you." Chen Ning shook her head with a smile. She asked in a curious voice, "When you fought last night, who won?" Chu Xiaobai's handsome face turned slightly red. After holding it in for a while, he finally said, "No. There was no winner." When it was almost dawn, the brat He suddenly jumped out of the pond. He said he had something to do and would fight another day. Then he left. Left? Chen Ning's eyes sparkled, feeling it was a little strange. Imo Chuan's whereabouts were always mysterious, coming and going without a trace. He would disappear from time to time, but when she needed him, he would suddenly appear. But thinking of his identity as an assassin, she understood. He will come back after leaving. She gave a gentle smile. She had not done what she promised him, so he would definitely come back. Chu Xiaobai's face changed and he angrily said, "Tell me, who is that brat He? Why did you go out drinking with him? Why did you let him carry you back in the middle of the night?" Chen Ning smiled at him and teased, "Little White, your nose seems to be crooked. Is it because Little Black hit you, or because you're angry?" Chu Xiaobai's face turned red. "Nonsense, when did my nose become crooked?" Even so, he could not help but glance at the bronze mirror on the table beside him. Ha, I'm just teasing you." Chen Ning bent over the bed as she laughed. She couldn't help pinching Chu Xiaobai's cheek and saying with a smile, "Xiaobai, you're really cute." It was easy for Chu Xiaobai to dodge, but he did not move at all. He let her pinch him as he stared at her in embarrassment and anger. "You still haven't told me who he is." "Little Black." Chen Ning forcefully pinched his smooth face twice. Seeing that there were red fingerprints left on his white as jade face, she withdrew her hand in satisfaction. She smiled and said, "He is my personal bodyguard. You've fought with him before, what do you think of his martial arts?" Chapter 270. He couldn't help rubbing his chest. He had suffered a kick from Imo Chuan yesterday. Although he wasn't injured, his chest was still very uncomfortable. "Then can you beat him?" Chen Ning blinked and asked a question she already knew the answer to. Although Chu Xiaobai said it was a draw, she could tell from Chu Xiaobai's expression that he had suffered quite a bit from Imo Chuan. Of course. Chu Xiaobai straightened his neck and said, "Next time I'll beat him to the point of begging for mercy, letting him know how strong I am." "All right, then I'll be waiting for that day," Chen Ning said with a smile. "Hey, why do you need a bodyguard for no reason? Are you afraid my third brother will bully you? How about you tell that brat He to scram and I'll be your bodyguard?" Chu Xiaobai suddenly thought of something and blurted it out. Chen Ning couldn't help laughing. "You are the respected King Jing'an, how could I dare make you my bodyguard?" She shook her head with a smile. Chu Xiaobai gave a sigh. He knew that this was an impossible matter. Not to mention his third brother Chu Xiaoyang not agreeing. If his uncle the emperor found out, he would be the first to not forgive him. But when he thought of that brat Hay following behind her all day, he felt uncomfortable all over. Xiao Bai, I want to punish you. Chen Ning suddenly said with a serious face, you dislocated my arm and I can't use any strength, how do you think I should punish you? Chu Xiaobai's heart skipped a beat as he nervously looked at her. Whatever you want me to do, I will do as you wish. He replied without any hesitation. But in his heart he said, it's best if you punish me by your side forever. All right, this is what you said. In a few days, the eldest princess will be holding a large hunt and she has invited me and your third brother to participate. Your third brother and I have made a bet to see who can catch the most game that day. Before Chen Ning finished, Chu Xiaobai had already cried out in shock, what? You really made this bet with my third brother? How could you make this bet with my third brother? Do you know how good my third brother's hunting and riding skills are? His archery is like a god and he always takes the lead every spring and autumn hunt. You could have bet with him, but why did you have to bet hunting? You will lose without a doubt. As he spoke, he shook his head repeatedly and asked, what's your bet? If it's not important, then you should just give it to me. When Chen Ning heard this, she couldn't help feeling discouraged. She said in a depressed voice, to Chu Xiaoyang, it really isn't anything important. I like a horse in his stable and if I win, he will give me that horse. If I lose. She bit her lips as Chu Xiaoyang's eyes filled with hatred and that cold expression appeared in front of her. What happens if I lose? Chu Xiaobai nervously asked. T want her, sl'd her, he, she, him, her. Xiao tes he, teet mo. He, she. He, Chen, her, he wanted her to admit defeat and kowtow to a scumbag like him. No way. My third brother has gone too far. Chu Xiaobai's handsome face sunk and he forcefully stomped his feet. He looked at her with a disappointed look. For a horse, you're willing to sacrifice your entire life. If you like horses, I'll give you 10 of them. If you like horses, I can give you 10 of them. If you really like my third brother's horse, as long as you tell me, even if I have to steal or rob it, I can still get it from third brother to give it to you. You just had to go and make some stupid bet with him. Chapter 271. Speaking of this, it's all your fault. I had confidence in winning, but you dislocated my arm, making it so that I couldn't use my strength to shoot. You said that I could punish you however I wanted, so I'll punish you. Help me win this hunt. No matter what method you use, I have to win. Chen Ning's eyes turned and she decided to blame it on Chu Xiaobai. Although her words were forceful, Chu Xiaobai was stunned and could not refute her. He naturally hoped that she could win the bet, but this was the big hunt and the eldest princess was personally in charge, so cheating was not allowed. If she wanted to win in front of everyone, it would be as hard as ascending to the heavens. But if she lost, she would be imprisoned in the king's palace for the rest of her life, becoming his third brother Chu Xiaoyang's slave. Thinking of this, his heart felt like it was being twisted. No, she could not lose. But what kind of method should she think of to ensure her victory was within her grasp? Chu Xiaobai raised his head and looked at the ceiling, silently thinking. Xiaobai, you fought with Xiao He all night yesterday, so you should be thirsty, right? I've specially prepared a soup for you to quench your thirst, do you want to try it? Chen Ning's eyes fell onto the large bowl of chilly water and she revealed a malicious smile. Chu Xiaobai was filled with excitement as he said, yes, of course I want it. But when he followed Chen Ning's gaze, his brows instantly came down and he said with a crying face, you wouldn't want me to drink this, right? What this and that thing? You killed my immortal crane and koi, I don't want you to pay me back. As long as you drink this soup, I'll forgive you. Otherwise, don't ever appear in front of me again. Chen Ning said with a serious face. All right, I'll drink it. Chu Xiaobai made up his mind. Wasn't it just a bowl of chili soup? Compared to not seeing her again, it wasn't even worth mentioning. He picked up the basin and gulped down a big mouthful. His handsome and fair face instantly flushed red from the spiciness, and tears came out. Hey, Xiaobai, you're really drinking it. Chen Ning was shocked. She grabbed the bowl of soup from his hand and found that he had already drunk half the bowl. Seeing his red face from the spiciness, she couldn't help feeling angry and finding it funny. I'm just scaring you. Do you really think so? Quickly drink some water. Chen Ning quickly poured a large cup of water and Chu Xiaobai drank it in one gulp. His eyes were as clear as a deer's, but he stared at her without blinking. He said seriously, don't even mention chili water. Even if it's arsenic water, as long as you let me drink it, I will gladly endure it. His voice was hoarse, no longer as clear as it was in the past. However, his tone was serious and sincere, not changing in the slightest. Xiaobai. Chen Ning's throat felt like it was blocked by something. Her heart was filled with sweetness and sourness as an indescribable feeling filled her chest. She stared blankly into his eyes, not avoiding the overflowing affection in his eyes. At this moment, many scenes of him flashed in her mind. He carefully held the snow lotus in his hands and brought it to her. He held her in his arms and flew over the high roofs. They sat side by side on the top floor of the royal palace at night. They had a heart-to-heart talk. He left many vivid and cute little animals on her face. Each scene was beautiful and warm. It was the first warmth and happiness she had felt since coming to this world. It was all given to her by him. If she could live happily like this for the rest of her life, it would not be a bad thing. Chapter 272. Her pretty face was slightly raised, her clear and watery eyes were filled with gentle ripples, and there was a hint of a smile. Chu Xiaobai's heart began to beat fast and he was so nervous that he stopped breathing. She was so close to him, and a few strands of her hair brushed past his face, giving off a faint fragrance. He suddenly gathered his courage and opened his arms to hug her. When he felt that she didn't resist pushing him away, his heart almost jumped out of his chest. He was panicking and his heart was beating fast. He felt her soft body leaning against his chest. This was the first time he was hugging his beloved girl and he was so nervous that he did not know what to do. This was too shameful. If she heard his wild heartbeat, she would know that he had no experience and would laugh at him. Chu Xiaobai's face was hot and his mouth was dry. He was annoyed with his own timidity and naivety. She was clearly in his embrace, but he could not summon the courage to kiss her face. His helplessness and nervousness were all seen by Chen Ning. The smile on her lips slowly grew and her eyes filled with a smile. This Xiaobai was as pure and clean as a piece of white paper, without a speck of dust on him. Moreover, he was very cute. This youth and innocence actually made her heart palpitate with eagerness. Perhaps the crows in the world were not all black. There was a pure and innocent youth like Chu Xiaobai among the Chu family. Compared to Chu Xiaobai, his third brother Chu Xiaoyang was simply a fighter among scum. I. Chu Xiaobai forcefully swallowed a few mouthfuls of saliva before finally being able to stutter out a few words. His voice was hoarse and his lips were burning, as if he had lost all feeling. He was filled with regret right now. Why did he drink that damn chili soup, making his lips feel like two pieces of wood? Even if he really kissed her face, he would not feel anything at all. What do you want to say? She looked up in his embrace. Those two long eyelashes fluttered like butterfly wings and her eyes were soft and clear. I want to. He stuttered. He was captivated by those two bright eyes of hers and was speechless for a while. Suddenly, his ears moved. He heard the sound of hurried footsteps coming from outside, as well as the urgent calls of the maids. Princess consort. Princess consort. Young miss, His Highness. His Highness is here. What? Chu Xiaobai and Chen Ning were both shocked. What is he doing here? Chen Ning knit her brows, feeling that something was wrong. Don't worry. As long as I'm here, I won't let him harm a single hair on your head. Chu Xiaobai held her shoulder and firmly said. You must leave immediately. You must not let him see you. Chen Ning bit her lips and her eyes were filled with determination. She placed a finger on Chu Xiaobai's lips and said word for word, I've sworn in front of everyone that as long as I am King Dingyuan's princess, I will not do anything that will shame my father. So before I completely separate from him, I won't give you any promises. Do you understand? Chu Xiaobai's heart was filled with an indescribable feeling. As long as he saw her eyes, he knew that she could not change her mind. Chapter 273. Chu Xiaobai really hoped that he could become a tree that could shelter her from the wind and rain, not letting her be destroyed by the wind and rain. He wanted to protect her in his branches. Chu Xiaobai wanted to protect her from the wind and rain. I understand. I will wait for you until that day. He took a deep breath and forcefully hugged her. Then he pushed open the back window and jumped out. He left the king's palace without looking back. He ran very far away in one breath before stopping. His heart was very painful, like it was being grabbed by something. It was so painful that he couldn't breathe. Amidst the pain, there was also a hint of sweetness in his heart. Although she had firmly told him that she would not give him any promises right now, he knew that this was the best promise she could give him. She had him in her heart. No matter how small a place he occupied in her heart, he had already entered her heart. Chu Xiaobai's lips couldn't help revealing a faint smile, but this smile quickly froze on his face. He knew why his third brother Chu Xiaoyang had come to her courtyard early in the morning. He was looking for trouble with her. But he could only watch from the side. Because if he were to appear there, she would be accused of being unchaste and unclean. For a woman, this was a stain that could never be washed clean. She said that she would not let her father be ashamed because of her. So, he could only endure, he could only leave, he could only let her delicate body face his third brother's torrential storm alone. His heart felt like it was being placed in a pan of oil, but he was helpless. Chu Xiaoyang came to the flowing cloud pavilion early in the morning. He did not come with good intentions and those with good intentions did not come. He didn't come alone. A large group of people followed behind him in a grandiose manner. There were the palace guards, servants, steward Su, and Mother Lin. Everyone had a very serious expression on their faces. Once he stepped into the flowing cloud pavilion, Chu Xiaoyang waved his hand and all the guards scattered. They guarded the entrances of the flowing cloud pavilion, not allowing anyone to enter or leave. Xiaorup, Chun Tao, and Xia He were currently cleaning up the battlefield from last night. When they saw Chu Xiaoyang suddenly appear with a group of people, they were all shocked. Xiaoru's first reaction was to run to Qin Ning's room and report to her. But before she could even say a few words, she was grabbed by the collar by a guard and brought back like an eagle catching a chicken. Chu Xiaoyang waved his hand and Chun Tao, Xia He, and Xiaoru were all kicked out of the flowing cloud pavilion by Chu Xiaoyang's guards. The three of them looked at the angry Chu Xiaoyang and their hearts jumped into their throats. They broke out in cold sweat for Qin Ning. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes sunk and his handsome face was so dark that it seemed like it was about to drip water. He walked over to Qin Ning's door and reached out to push it open. At this moment, his emotions were extremely complicated. The veins on the back of his hand were bulging, and he was actually trembling. The doctor said that Chen Baiyun had fainted yesterday and he had carried her to the intoxicated flower pavilion. He had quickly asked the doctor to make medicine for her. The doctor said that Chen Baiyun had been frightened twice and she had personally seen Lan Xiang die under the hooves of a horse, so she had been stimulated and needed to rest. It was a good thing that the child in her stomach was fine. Chapter 274. It wasn't me, it really wasn't me. I don't know anything, I didn't kill Lan Xiang. Saying this, her face was covered in tears. She kept calling out Lan Xiang's name, and after calling Lan Xiang, she called out Chu Xiaoyang. Your Highness, you have to believe Yun. Yun didn't do it, I really didn't do it. Her face was pale and filled with tears. Her body kept trembling as she curled up in Chu Xiaoyang's embrace like a pitiful child. Chu Xiaoyang hugged her and gently patted her back, comforting her in a soft voice. Yun, don't be afraid. No matter what you did, this king will believe you and will always believe you. Lan Xiang is dead and this king will send a better maid to serve you. You can sleep in peace, this king will stay here with you and will not take a single step away from you. Under his comforting voice, Chen Baiyun gradually calmed down. After taking the medicine, she quickly fell into a deep sleep, but one hand was still holding on to his clothes. Her brows were knit together and her expression was delicate. Chu Xiaoyang just sat beside her like this. He sat there for most of the day, not even moving his butt. He did not say anything and just silently stared at Chen Baiyun's sleeping face. No one knew what he was thinking in his heart. The room was filled with maids and servants, but no one dared to make a sound in case they disturbed His Highness and the concubine consort. When the lights were turned on in the night, Chu Xiaoyang's personal attendant Xiaoanzi quickly came in from outside and reported a few words to Chu Xiaoyang in a low voice. Chu Xiaoyang's expression changed and he suddenly stood up. He never thought that this sudden movement would wake up the sleeping Chen Baiyun. Your Highness, where are you going? Don't you want Yun anymore? She opened her eyes. The tears in the corners of her eyes had not dried yet, but new tears came pouring out. Chu Xiaoyang's heart softened. He sat down again and held her hand. In a soft voice, he said, Yun, don't panic. How could this king not want you? Something has happened and this king needs to take care of it. Chen Baiyun's body trembled. She grabbed his hand and said with a nervous expression, Your Highness, don't blame elder sister. This matter has nothing to do with elder sister. Yun believes that elder sister is innocent. She didn't do it on purpose. Chu Xiaoyang tightly knit his brows and said, How do you know that this king is going to find that cheap person? Chen Baiyun shrunk back and timidly said, His Highness will only be this angry when he thinks of elder sister. Did elder sister do something wrong to make His Highness angry again? That shameless slut. After she left the horse track, she still hasn't come back. Chu Xiaoyang was so angry that he blurted out. Elder sister. She left the palace. Chen Baiyun's eyes flashed and she looked out the window. She said in a worried voice, Yeah, it's already dark outside. Elder sister is still outside the palace this late, what if there's danger? I wonder if that black-clothed guard has been protecting big sister all this time. Her words were like adding oil to the fire. Chu Xiaoyang gritted his teeth and the veins on his forehead popped out. Chuan's ti, he tmo ti chin, ti chuan, ti 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 ti, him ti. He hated Mo Chuan, not because Mo Chuan made him look bad in front of everyone, but because from the moment Mo Chuan saved Chen Ning, his hatred for Mo Chuan had seeped into his bones. Chapter 275. What he hated the most was the scene of Mo Chuan carrying Chen Ning away. He actually dared to touch his woman. Even if he didn't want her, he would not allow another man to touch a single finger of hers. Xiaoanzi, pass on this king's orders. Have the guards guard all the entrances to the palace. As long as that cheap woman comes back, immediately report to this king. Chu Xiaoyang's face was dark as he tried to control his anger. Yes. Shaoanzi did not need to ask to know who the cheap woman His Highness was talking about was. When he was about to leave, Chu Xiaoyang coldly added another sentence. No matter what time it is, as long as that cheap woman comes back, immediately report to me. Yes, Your Highness. After Shaoanzi left, Chu Xiaoyang called in housekeeper Su and ordered him to send a few smart maids to the intoxicated flower pavilion to serve Qin Baiyun. After settling everything, he returned to Qin Baiyun's side and held her hand. His expression was uncertain as he looked out the door from time to time. How could Qin Baiyun not know what he was thinking? She secretly gritted her teeth and said, Your Highness does not need to worry about elder sister. With that kind of strong martial arts guard by elder sister's side, elder sister will definitely be safe. This king is worried about that guard. Chu Xiaoyang blurted out, but then he suddenly stopped himself. His face was tight and his eyes were sharp. He unknowingly tightened his grip on Qin Baiyun's hand. But Qin Baiyun did not feel any pain because her heart was in more pain than her hand. She looked down and hid the deep hatred in her eyes. She snuggled into Chu Xiaoyang's embrace and said in an understanding voice, Your Highness, Yun knows that you are worried that elder sister will. She paused and very cleverly stopped. Feeling Chu Xiaoyang's body slightly tremble, she continued to say, Yun believes that elder sister will abide by the rules of a woman and will not do anything that will disgrace Your Highness. However, even if Yun believes that elder sister is innocent and Your Highness believes in elder sister, we still need to take out evidence for this matter. Only then will we be able to seal the mouths of the world and give elder sister justice. Evidence? What kind of evidence? How can we prove this matter to others? Chu Xiaoyang's chest was stuffy as he angrily punched the wall. Thinking of how the hat on his head would turn green and how he, the respected King Ding Yuan, would be called a turtle when he went out, he was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Qin Baiyun's heart ached as she held his hand. Her eyes turned and she said in a soft voice, Yun wants to ask Your Highness about something. I hope that Your Highness can tell Yun honestly. Chu Xiaoyang said in a deep voice, What? After Your Highness and elder sister got married, did you and elder sister sleep on the same bed? Qin Baiyun asked even though she already knew the answer. Then she shyly lowered her head, saying the last 3 words in a small voice. Bye Ji. That ugly monster, this king didn't even look at her, so how could I sleep with her? Yun this king only has you in his heart. Other than you, no other woman would even touch a single finger of his. Could it be that you still doubt this king's feelings for you? Chu Xiaoyang angrily said. Chapter 276. She did not even finish before Chu Xiaoyang suddenly slapped his thigh and said, Good. Yun your method couldn't be any better. His eyes were as cold as ice and his lips curled into a fiendish smile as he said, If she really does something to let this king down, not only will this king ruin her reputation, I will also make her beg for death. Qin Baiyun revealed a look of fear as she said, Your Highness, Yun believes that elder sister is not that kind of person. For Your Highness and elder sister's reputation, you have to carefully choose the 2 nannies. You're right. Yun who do you think is suitable in the palace? Qin Baiyun hesitated for a bit before saying, Yun has heard of the 4th grade ceremonial maid Meng and the 4th grade ceremonial maid Jiang. They are both old and experienced nannies. Alright, then this king will send someone to invite those 2 over tomorrow and have them examine that cheap woman's body. Chu Xiaoyang stroked Qin Baiyun's long hair and gave her a pampering smile. Yun you really are this king's intimate person. This king is very fortunate to have you as his companion. Qin Baiyun gently hugged his waist and revealed a sweet smile. In a soft voice, she said, being able to help your highness is Yun-er's duty. Yun hopes that elder sister can prove her innocence and hope that your highness can repair your relationship with elder sister. Yun-er's wish is more than enough. Yun-er, that slut almost killed you today. Not only do you not hate her, you even thought about this matter for her sake. You even hoped that this king would treat her well. There are far too few women who are as kind as you. I hope that slut can understand your painstaking efforts and turn over a new leaf from now on, turning over a new leaf. But you can be assured, even if she is innocent, this king will not be moved by this kind of snake and scorpion heart at all. Chu Xiaoyang tightly hugged her and firmly said, Your Highness, elder sister, she. Chen Baiyun timidly wanted to say something, but she was cut off by Chu Xiaoyang. You don't need to say anything good for her. How to treat her, this king knows what to do. Good Yun-er, listen to this king and obediently go to sleep. Chu Xiaoyang let her lie in his embrace and carefully pulled up the blanket for her, being very considerate. The maid on the side came forward to put down the curtain and blew out the candle. Chen Baiyun closed her eyes in satisfaction. She knew that the more she pushed Chu Xiaoyang to Qin Ning, the further he would be from Qin Ning. On the surface, it looked like she was thinking for Qin Ning and even thinking for her, but Chu Xiaoyang did not know what kind of person the one in charge of the body examination was. With a flip of their hands, it was unknown how many young misses' reputation had been ruined by a few fingers of these body examination maids. Thinking of this, Chen Baiyun revealed a proud smile. Qin Ning, Qin Ning, after tomorrow's body inspection, I'll definitely ruin your reputation and make you wish you were dead. He felt like there was a heavy lock on his heart, making him feel uncomfortable and angry. That bold cheap woman, daring to stay out all night and hang out with another man. She clearly did not put her husband in her eyes at all. What a bold slut. She actually dared to stay out at night with another man. She clearly did not put her husband in her eyes at all. Chapter 277. Chu Xiaoyang's hand was placed on the carved red lacquer door. Before he could open it, the door suddenly made a "yeah" sound and opened from the inside. It's so early in the morning and there's already a commotion outside, disturbing people's dreams. Where did this wild dog come from? Chun Tao, Xia He, how do you take care of this courtyard? How can you let any random dog or cat into our courtyard? Qin Ning appeared in front of him with a lazy expression. She had one hand on the door frame and the other was covering her mouth as she yawned. It was like she had suddenly seen Chu Xiaoyang. Her eyes suddenly opened wide and she revealed a surprised expression. This princess thought it was a wild dog from the alley next door. I never thought it would be your highness. Your highness coming to the Flowing Cloud Pavilion early in the morning to visit this princess, this is truly flattering. Her face was covered in a thick layer of makeup and with her exaggerated expression, it made Chu Xiaoyang feel like vomiting. This damned slut. She must have known that it was him long ago. The rouge on her face was clearly freshly applied. It was true that ugly people often cause trouble. She was ugly, so even if her face was covered with rouge and powder, she was still an undeniably ugly person. Chu Xiaoyang did not even look at her as he walked in with large steps. His eyes were filled with darkness. He was already used to her sarcasm, so he was not angry at all. What made him angry was something else. She had actually come back, which was out of his expectations. But thinking about it, he understood. The black-clothed guard beside her was a martial arts expert and his qigong was not ordinary. He brought her in and out of the palace, avoiding the guard's eyes and ears was very easy. He could only blame himself for not thinking about it. However, this proved one thing even more. There must be a secret between her and the guard. Otherwise, why would she not dare to openly enter the mansion with the guard? Thinking of this, Chu Xiaoyang became even more angry. His first thought was that this pair of dog and dog must have slept together last night. He angrily charged into Chen Ning's room and ran over to the large bed. With a pull of his hands, he ripped the curtain in half, revealing the empty bed. No one. There was actually no one. But this did not calm Chu Xiaoyang's anger. He suddenly turned around and grabbed Chen Ning's wrist as he shouted, "Where is that man?" Chen Ning gave a z sound and said, "Man, what man? Why does your highness always come to my flowing cloud pavilion to find men? Could it be that all the men in the palace are dead?" Although Chu Xiaoyang's body was filled with a cold killing intent, she was not afraid at all. She covered her lips as she giggled. "Stop pretending in front of this king. Don't pretend with this king. Don't think that this king doesn't know what you're doing. Cheap woman, this king is warning you. If you dare do anything wrong to this king will chop you up and feed you to the dogs." He gritted his teeth and glared at Chen Ning with eyes that seemed like they were about to spit fire. Chen Ning, with a smile. She said with a sigh. Chen Xiao said, "King, what do you mean? Are you trying to slander this princess' innocence?" Although she did not know what Chen Baiyun had said to Chu Xiaoyang last night, she could see that Chu Xiaoyang did not come with good intentions. "Clean. Do you still have your innocence?" Chu Xiaoyang gave a cold laugh and looked around the room. He did not find Mo Chuan, but that did not dispel the suspicion and anger in his heart. Chapter 278. Chu Xiaoyang, stop hurting people. You're the cheap person, you're a cheap person. Chen Ning rarely scolded people, but hearing Chu Xiaoyang call her a cheap person, even if she was made of mud, she would still be a country bumpkin. She immediately scolded back without any hesitation. You dare scold this king?" Chu Xiaoyang was stunned from being scolded. This was the first time someone had called him a cheap person. "That's right, I'm scolding a cheap person like you. A cheap person deserves to be scolded, a cheap person is unreasonable. Chu Xiaoyang, you're a cheap person." Chen Ning's scolding became more and more enjoyable as she scolded him. She regretted not scolding him earlier. Do you believe that this king won't kill you?" Chu Xiaoyang angrily raised his fist. "Cheap person. Do it." Chen Ning looked at him with a look of disdain and raised her chin high up. "You think this king doesn't dare?" Chu Xiaoyang's voice came out through gritted teeth as his eyes filled with killing intent. But his fist, which was raised high, did not come down for a long time. He didn't know why, but he clearly hated Chen Ning and was so angry that he wanted to kill her. She was like a pitiful ant that he could easily crush into powder, but he couldn't do it. Her stubborn eyes and her unyielding personality made him feel a kind of admiration. Even men would kneel down and beg for mercy in front of his cold killing intent, but her face did not show the slightest bit of fear, and her legs were standing straight. Just based on this point, he wouldn't kill her. He would slowly torture her bit by bit until she crawled at his feet and admitted that he was her master. Then he would send her to her death. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes flashed with a cruel and cold light. He slowly lowered his fist and coldly said, "Very good, Chen Ning, you really have guts. This king won't kill you, but this king won't let you go like this. If you want to punish someone, you can always find a pretext. I wonder what kind of crime your highness wants to give this princess this time." Chen Ning heard that he was no longer calling her a cheap person, so her words became a bit more polite to him. "You keep saying that you're innocent, but do you dare prove it in front of everyone?" "Why wouldn't I dare? But how do you want me to prove it?" Chen Ning gave a cold laugh. "Good. You're the one who said this." Chu Xiaoyang suddenly sent out a palm strike. With a sharp wind, he sent it towards Chen Ning. With a "kacha" sound, the two windows were shattered by the wind from his palm and flew out. Chen Ning looked out the window and saw a courtyard filled with people. She couldn't help curling her lips. "Your Highness, this truly is a large force." She gave a cold laugh of disdain as she straightened her back. Chu Xiaoyang coldly said, "Mother Meng, Mother Jiang, come in and examine the princess consort's body." Xiaoyang. Two white-haired old maids wearing palace robes came out of the crowd and followed her into the room. They said to Chen Ning, "I asked the princess consort to take off her clothes and let these old ones examine the princess consort's innocence." Chen Ning stared at the two maids and said without any politeness, "Where did you two old beasts come from? What qualifications do you have to make this princess take off her clothes?" Mother Meng and Mother Jiang were trembling with anger, but they had been in the palace for many years. What kind of storms had they not experienced and what kind of insults had they not heard? Although Chen Ning's words were rude, they did not reveal any anger on their faces. Chapter 279. That Mother Jiang also came forward to greet her. She gave a fake smile and said, "This old one is a fourth-grade steward, in charge of etiquette. People call me Mother Jiang," greeting the princess consort. The two of them immediately reported their ranks in the palace. Their meaning was to tell Chen Ning that although she was a princess, they were all ranked maids in the palace. If she dared to insult them, it would be the same as insulting the emperor. Chen Ning revealed a faint smile. Naturally, she understood the meaning behind their words. At the same time, she understood the entire situation. She could tell at a glance that these two eccentric old things were up to no good. It would be a miracle if they were willing to verify her innocence in front of their father-in-law. Even if she used her feet to think, she could tell that Chen Baiyun had set her up again. She wanted to use the words of these two maids to ruin her reputation, so how could she let Chen Baiyun do as she wished? "So it's Mother Meng and Mother Jiang from the palace. This princess did not know about it before, so I was rude. I asked the two maids to not take offense," Chen Ning said with a smile. Mother Meng and Mother Jiang said in their hearts, "Now you're admitting your mistake. It's too late." But at the same time, they had a humble and respectful smile on their faces as they said, "These old ones are just servants, how could we dare blame the princess consort? We asked the princess consort to take off her clothes on the bed." "Take off my clothes on the bed? I wonder how the two nannies will help this princess examine it?" Chen Ning asked with a smile. She asked in a very natural manner, but the two maids' faces couldn't help turning red. In front of Chu Xiaoyang, the two of them found it hard to say. "Cool. Mother Meng gave a soft cough and then said in a slightly awkward voice, "We're asking the princess consort to take off her underwear and let these old ones check if the princess consort is still a virgin." "So it's like this." Chen Ning looked at Chu Xiaoyang and said with a faint smile, "These two maids want to prove this princess' innocence. Your Highness, do you want to personally verify it?" "No need." Chu Xiaoyang's handsome face suddenly turned red for some reason. He turned around and walked away. "Wait, Your Highness. If you don't personally verify this matter and something goes wrong, wouldn't this princess be unable to say anything? Wouldn't I be accused of being unclean?" Chen Ning suddenly came forward in front of him. Chu Xiaoyang knit his brows and coldly said, "What do you mean? These two are old nannies that this prince specially invited from the palace. They are experienced and mature. This prince believes in them. You believe them, but this princess doesn't believe them," Chen Ning said as her eyes coldly swept over Mother Meng and Mother Jiang. The two maids looked at each other and immediately cried out in grievance, "Princess consort, this old one has been in the palace for many years and all the beauties that enter the palace have been tested by us. There has never been a single mistake, so why does the princess consort not trust us?" I believe you, but I can't believe your fingers." Chen Ning gave a cold laugh. Don't think that this princess doesn't know what kind of tricks you're playing. You actually want to use them on this princess today. You should save your breath. Chen mother, Chen Ning and Chen Ning, Chen mother, Ning and she, Chen mother, Chen the two, Chen, mother Chen, Jiang Chen, Chu Xiao Yang, you want to prove this princess' innocence. Fine. Chapter 280. You want this king to personally test it. Chu Xiaoyang was stunned, but then he understood Chen Ning's meaning. He couldn't help flying into a rage out of shame as he angrily scolded, Chen Ning, you really don't know shame. You can actually say this kind of thing. You want to go to bed with this king, you. Keep on dreaming. His face turned red and he did not know what to say. Chi. Chen Ning suddenly gave a gentle laugh that was filled with disdain. She curled her lips into a smile and looked at Chu Xiaoyang from the corner of her eyes. When did this princess say I wanted to go to bed with you? You're dreaming. You. Then what did you mean just now? Chu Xiaoyang angrily said with a red face. Could it be that the only way to test a woman's innocence is by going to bed with a man and taking off her clothes? Mother Meng, Mother Jiang, you keep saying that you're old maids of the palace, but have you never heard of the palace guarding cinnabar before? I believe everyone in the palace knows that as long as you put a palace guarding cinnabar on an unmarried woman's arm, unless she marries or becomes a virgin, the palace guarding cinnabar will never fade. Mother Meng, Mother Jiang, you clearly know this is the simplest and most effective method, but you didn't say a single word about it. You just have to make it seem like you're not guilty, right? Chen Ning's lips were like spears and her tongue was like arrows. Each word made the two maids speechless. They could not refute her and could only stammer, this. What this and that? Stop wasting time. Quickly take out the palace guarding cinnabar, this princess will test it for you to see if this princess is still innocent or not. Chen Ning fiercely shouted. The two maids trembled as they secretly thought that this princess was truly powerful. Mother Meng helplessly took out a small pill bottle from her chest and presented it to Chen Ning with both hands. Chen Ning opened it and saw a vermilion red muddy substance inside. She had only read about the palace guarding cinnabar from books, but she had never seen it before, so she did not know if it was real or fake. This is the palace guarding cinnabar. Her cold eyes stared at Mother Meng's face. Mother Meng replied, it is. She lowered her head and Chen Ning could not see her expression. She could only see her sleeves slightly trembling, so it was hard to tell if it was real or fake. Whether this palace guarding cinnabar is real or fake, it is not up to you to decide. This princess wants to test it. Chen Ning thought for a bit before walking out the door. Chu Xiaoyang did not know what she wanted to do, so he followed her out. Chen Ning's eyes swept over the people in the yard before looking back at Chu Xiaoyang. With a faint smile, she said, Your Highness, do you mind if this princess does an experiment first? Chu did not understand as he asked, Chen, what? Chen Ning raised the small pill bottle in her hand and asked, Do you know what this palace guarding sand is? Chen. That's good. Speaking of which, this chastity cinnabar isn't something precious. It's just that geckos are fed cinnabar and other things for 49 days, then mashed into mud and smeared on a woman's arm. If the woman is a virgin, water won't be able to wash it off. Otherwise, if you wash it with water, it will disappear without a trace. Since Wang Ye already knows, we might as well verify it on the spot. How will you verify it? Chu Xiaoyang stared at her and said. Chapter 281. All right. Chu Xiaoyang looked at the crowd and said in a deep voice, Mother Lin, come here. Mother Lin walked out of the crowd with her cane and bowed to Chu Xiaoyang and Chen Ning. This servant greets your highness and princess consort. She was very respectful, completely different from the two maids from the palace. You are this king's wet nurse and the person this king trusts the most, so you'll be the one to test it. The other one. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes fell onto Xiao Ru and he said with a cold laugh, Chen Ning, how about you call your dowry maid to test it? Do you dare? The so-called master-like servant. Chu Xiaoyang suspected that Chen Ning was not pure, so her maid must have had an affair with someone else. He deliberately called out Xiao Ru's name because he wanted Chen Ning to lose face in front of everyone. Chen Ning nodded and waved her hand. All right, Xiao Ru, come here. Xiao Ru was blocked by the guards outside the yard, so she could hear them clearly. She pushed away the guard's arm and walked forward without any hesitation. Young miss, this servant is willing to try. Very good. Xiao Ru, roll up your sleeves. Chen Ning gave Xiao Ru a smile of praise. Then she turned to Mother Lin and said, Mother Lin, please also roll up your sleeves. The two of them rolled up their sleeves, revealing their left arms. One was as white as a jade root and the other was as dry as a bamboo shoot. Chen Ning picked up a bit of the palace guarding sand and placed it on their arms. Bring a basin of water, she said. Chu Xiaoyang gave a look and someone immediately brought over a basin of water. You can wash it yourselves, Chen Ning said. Xiao Ru and Mother Lin scooped up some water and sprinkled it on their arms. Xiao Ru forcefully rubbed it. Not only did the little red dot not fade, it actually became even brighter. Mother Lin gently rubbed it and the little red dot disappeared without a trace. This result was already within Chu Xiaoyang's expectations. He looked at Chen Ning in a non-committal manner. It seems like this palace guarding sand isn't fake. Chen Ning understood Chu Xiaoyang's meaning. She slowly rolled up her left sleeve, revealing a snow-white arm. Chu Xiaoyang stared at her arm. He felt that this scene was familiar, but he couldn't remember where he had seen it before. He couldn't help knitting his brows. Chen Ning curled her lips into a ridiculing smile and said, If your highness thinks my arm is ugly, then you don't have to look at it. There is no need to make this appearance. Chu Xiaoyang's face turned red and he angrily said, If you don't dare try, then say it now. Chen Ning did not say anything. She picked up a bit of sand and gently touched it on her left arm. It was like a red plum blossom in the snow, bright and glistening. She washed it with water, but the more she washed it, the more. Your Highness, this princess' innocence has already been revealed to everyone. Does your Highness have anything else to say? Chen Ning's eyes swept over the people in the yard before falling onto Chu Xiaoyang's face. Chu Xiaoyang's face alternated between green and red. His eyes stared right at Chen Ning with a very complicated look in them. Even Chen Ning could not guess what he was thinking in his heart. Chu Chin Chin. After a while, Chu Xiaoyang suddenly said these words before turning around and leaving with large steps. Everyone had come with His Highness to denounce him, but who would have thought that this would be the result? They all felt ashamed and dejectedly followed behind Chu Xiaoyang. Mother Meng and Mother Jiang from the palace ran faster than rabbits. On the other hand, Mother Lin followed the rules and said goodbye to Chen Ning. This large group of people came in an aggressive manner and left in a hurry. They came in a hurry and left in a hurry. The three maids of the flowing cloud pavilion couldn't help excitedly surrounding Chen Ning, chattering non-stop. Chapter 282. That's right, Xia He, go and tell housekeeper Su that His Highness suddenly brought a large group of people and killed the cranes in my yard, scared away my parrots, and angered the koi fish in my pond to death. Make him pay back 10 times. Chen Ning directly shifted the blame onto Chu Xiaoyang. Since she was spending his money to buy things, she didn't feel any heartache at all. Yes, Princess Consort. This servant will go now. Xia he happily left. Princess consort, this servant will go make something delicious for you. Chun Tao also smiled as she ran into the small kitchen. Only Xiao Ru followed Qin Ning back to her room, blinking her eyes as she looked at Qin Ning. What do you want to say now? Qin Ning looked at her. She sat in front of the dressing table and wiped off the thick makeup on her face. Young miss. Xiao Ru bit her lips, hesitating. If you have something to say, then say it. That's right, don't try to pull strings with me. Being provoked by Qin Ning, Xiao Ru blurted out, Young miss, do you plan on living with His Highness like this for the rest of your life? Qin Ning was stunned, but then she revealed a smile and said, Of course not. Which eye of yours sees that I plan on living with him for the rest of my life? Then. Young miss, why do you have to prove your innocence? Isn't it better to let His Highness misunderstand? He will definitely write a divorce letter to divorce you. Won't you be able to leave the palace and regain your freedom like this? At that time, young miss, it doesn't matter if you like bodyguard He or that immortal young master, you can be with whoever you want. Xiao Ru was wholeheartedly thinking for Qin Ning. Qin Ning heard her naive and straightforward words and her heart was touched. She waved her hand at her and had her sit down beside her. She pulled her hand and said, Xiao Ru, there are some things you don't understand. There are things a person can do and things they can't do. I do want to leave this prince's mansion, but I don't want to be burdened with a divorce letter, and I don't want to leave with an unclear reputation. I am a daughter of the Qin family. My father, Great General Qin, bathed in blood for the country and is loved by everyone, so I, as a daughter, cannot tarnish his reputation. I've told you before, one day when I step out of this palace, I want Chu Xiaoyang to bow 3 times with each step and send me off. Do you believe that there will be a day like this? Her eyes were bright and firm. Hearing this, Xiao Ru's blood began to boil. Her little face turned red as she said, Young miss, this servant believes that this day will come. I also believe it. Qin Ning smiled as she pinched Xiao Ru's bulging cheeks. Her eyes suddenly turned and she said to the window, Since you're here, why don't you come in? Hiding outside and eavesdropping isn't befitting of your identity as Black Protector, is it? Hey, bodyguard He. He's here. Xiao Ru suddenly jumped up and looked out the window. The 2 windows were sent flying by Chu Xiaoyang and the scenery outside could be seen. There was not a single person in sight. Xiao Ru felt her eyes blur and there was another person in the room. She was pleasantly surprised as she clapped her hands and said, Bodyguard He, you're back. Where's Xiao C.S.? Qin Ning's lips twitched. She angrily slapped the back of Xiao Ru's head and scolded, Xiao Ru, be reserved. Chen's, Ning Chen. He Chen's Mo Chen, I, Chen's Ning's, you want to see Xiao C. Xiao Ru was about to nod, but she suddenly saw Qin Ning staring at her with a serious gaze. She lowered her head and did not say a word. Chapter 283. You're a very interesting girl. Mo Chuan looked at Xiao Ru's back and suddenly said. She is interested in your Xiao Si. Qin Ning lazily said. She revealed a smile as she looked at Mo Chuan, You've been watching this show for so long, why didn't you come out earlier? If I appeared, it would only make the water even more muddy. Mo Chuan replied. Qin Ning secretly praised him in her heart. He really was a smart person. When she was talking to Chu Xiaoyang alone, she was calm because she had a clear conscience. The only thing she was worried about was Mo Chuan suddenly appearing. Chu Xiaoyang would be enraged when he saw Mo Chuan and she wouldn't be able to pass this easily. This time, I'm afraid it's that woman's trick again. Do you plan on enduring it? Mo Chuan stared into her eyes as he spoke. Don't you think that she tried to steal a chicken but ended up losing the rice used to lure it? Contrary to Mo Chuan's expectations, not only was Chen Ning not angry, she even smiled like a little fox that had stolen a chicken. Why do you say this? Everyone's mouths can melt gold and the accumulated slander can melt away one's bones. The most difficult thing for a person is a clean reputation, but Chen Baiyun thought of such a good method and gave it to me for free. Tell me, shouldn't I thank her for her scheming? Chen Ning's eyes turned and she suddenly thought of a good method. Then how do you want to repay her? Mo Chuan was curious. She's pregnant, so she needs to eat more supplements. Then I'll give her some supplements. Chen Ning's eyes looked over at the white bellies of the carp in the pond. She clapped her hands and spoke with a smile. Chen Baiyun couldn't eat anything right now. She leaned against the headboard and felt her chest fill up. Nothing she saw was pleasing to the eye. There were no secrets in the king's palace. Very quickly, everything that happened in the flowing cloud pavilion spread like wildfire and entered her ears. She never would have thought that the good method she had thought of to ruin Chen Ning's reputation would actually help her clean reputation in front of everyone. She was so angry that she almost crushed her teeth. However, the messenger couldn't see the change in her expression and was still describing what happened after that. Then housekeeper Su personally sent 5 cranes, 10 parrots, and 50 carps to the princess consort's flowing cloud pavilion. I heard that it cost a large amount of money. She only had a few carps that died, why did he have to compensate her with 50? Chen Baiyun became even angrier. Each of these carps were worth a lot of money. Although His Highness loved her, he only gave her 10 of them. She became even angrier the more she thought about it. She grabbed a vase beside her and threw it. With a "ka lang," the vase was smashed to pieces. Consort. What happened to you? The 2 maids who had just been sent by housekeeper Su to serve her rushed over when they heard the commotion. This concubine's stomach. Her stomach is hungry. Chen Baiyun rolled her eyes and made up a reason, go to the kitchen and make something for this concubine. When the 2 maidservants came back, they brought 2 large boxes of food. It was a dazzling lineup and a fragrant smell filled the air. There was also a bowl of hot soup that was as white as milk, releasing a very tempting fragrance. Chen Baiyun did not feel hungry at all, but when she smelled the fragrance of the soup, she said, "Bring the soup over for me to drink." This soup was fragrant and fresh, with a bit of spiciness to it. It was very appetizing, so Chen Baiyun was very satisfied. Chapter 284. A maid replied, reporting to the concubine consort, "This is carp soup. I heard that the concubine consort sent people to the kitchen and even the method of making this soup was personally taught by the concubine consort. If the concubine consort likes it, this servant will bring another bowl for the concubine consort." She did not even have time to turn around before she heard a "wah" sound. Chen Baiyun had completely spat out the fish soup she had just drunk. Chen Baiyun, will never forgive you. She had just sworn in her heart when she felt another wave of nausea coming from her throat and she began to vomit again. When the news was sent to the flowing cloud pavilion, Xiaoru was filled with joy as she cried out in joy. "Young miss, how can you be sure that the second miss will drink that carp soup?" she asked while suppressing her laughter. "What? Are you looking down on your young miss cooking skills?" Chen Ning looked at her. There was also a bowl of white fish soup in front of her that was very fragrant. She smiled as she picked it up and took a sip. Then she sighed and said, "Such a delicious soup," but she actually spat it all out. 8. Cheap people really are unreasonable. When Xiaoru, Chun Tao, and Xia He heard this, they couldn't hold back their laughter. The 3 maids were laughing and laughing when they suddenly stopped, like they had gone mute. Chen Ning felt this was strange. She looked up and saw that Emo Chuan was standing outside the window without her knowing. He was like a ghost, releasing a cold aura from his body. It was no wonder the three maids were so scared that they did not dare say anything. She smiled as she sent the three of them away. Then she waved at Emo Chuan. "Xiao Hei, come in and have a bowl of fish soup. It's very fresh and fragrant, I'm sure you'll like it." The fish soup was indeed very fragrant and fresh, but when Emo Chuan thought about how this soup was made from the carp he had killed last night, he did not have any appetite at all. "You little girl, you really know how to play tricks on people," Chen Ning said with a smile. "Aren't you wronging my good intentions? I've already drunk this fish soup, it's very fresh and nutritious. It's just that she doesn't know what's good for her." She looked at Emo Chuan with her chin and her eyes turned. She suddenly thought of something and said with a smile, "Xiao Hei, if you don't like fish soup, I have a special bowl of soup prepared for you." Emo Chuan's eyes lit up. Oh. He saw Chen Ning take out a large bowl of red soup and place it in front of him. Chili soup. He couldn't help but frown. He knew how spicy the soup was the moment he smelled it. Did she want him to drink this? That's right. You and Little White turned my yard upside down and even dislocated my arm. How do you think I should punish you? Xiao Bai has already drunk this soup, so do you want to drink it? Chen Ning deliberately teased him. He must be someone who doesn't eat spicy food. Chuan Kan, he. Kan he Chen Kan, he, Chen, he wanted. Kan Chen. Ch. Chen. Kan's Chen. Chen. His he his, Kan, his. His. Chen. Xiao Hei, you. You're not spicy. She looked at him in a daze. Emo Chuan was wearing a mask, so she couldn't see his face. However, his ears instantly turned red, even redder than the chili in his bowl. He wanted to say it wasn't spicy at all. Chapter 285. Ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. A burst of laughter came from outside the window. The voice was clear and pleasant to the ear. Along with the laughter, a figure suddenly appeared in front of the window. A white robe fluttered in the wind, looking like a blooming flower in the night. "Brat Hey, so you can't eat spicy food." Chu Xiao Bai's brows relaxed as he revealed a spirited smile. Seeing Emo Chuan's sorry appearance, he felt like the kicks and punches on his body were not as painful anymore. Emo Chuan quickly turned around and glared at him. He wanted to curse, but his throat was so hoarse that he couldn't say anything. It was a good thing that he didn't need his mouth to say something. For example, fists. Emo Chuan's brows jumped up and he floated forward. His movements were as fast as a ghost as he threw a punch at Chu Xiaobai's handsome face. "Hey, don't hit the face when you hit people. Brat Hey, are you jealous that my face is prettier than yours?" Chu Xiaobai nodded and his head shrank into his chest, dodging this punch. Humph. Emo Chuan's reply was a cold snort and a kick that came right after. "I-oh. Brat Hey, you're really kicking me." Chu Xiaobai could not dodge this time. A heavy pain came from his butt and he fell from the roof. It was a good thing his qigong was not bad. With a slight bend in the air, he landed on the ground with his head up and feet down. I won't fight. Brat Hey, I admit that your martial arts are better than mine. I can't beat you, so how about we turn enemies into friends?" Chu Xiaobai's figure flashed and he dodged Emo Chuan's follow-up attack as he waved his hand. He had fought with Emo Chuan twice and he was at a disadvantage both times. He knew that the other side's martial arts were much higher than his, but he was being lenient and did not kill him. He didn't know why, but although Emo Chuan was a stranger, he felt a sense of familiarity. Mo Chuan wanted to say in his heart, who would turn enemies into friends. You perverted brat, taking advantage of others, but his throat was hoarse and he couldn't say anything. Hey, brat, hey, your martial arts are not bad. With you protecting Ning, I can be assured. Chu Xiaobai revealed a faint smile. He took out a small medicine bottle from his chest and gave it to Mo Chuan. Eat this and your throat will feel a bit better. Mo Chuan coldly looked at the medicine bottle, but he did not take it. He suddenly jumped off the ground and onto the roof. His black clothes quickly melted into the night and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Chen Ning was already used to him leaving as he pleased, coming and going without a trace. Seeing this, she did not find it strange and just revealed a faint smile. Chu Xiaobai gave a large praise, good martial arts. He paused and then said, this fellow is really proud. He was a little embarrassed as he put the bottle in his hand back into his chest and unconsciously rubbed his chin. Although Mo Chuan did not say a word, the cold and arrogant aura he released could not be ignored. Chen, and he. Chen, and, he. I, and, he, and, he, and he, of, and, he, of. Although she had agreed to help Mo Chuan had not asked her how to help him. Chu Xiaobai became anxious when he heard this. He secretly whispered, this brat He wouldn't be thinking about Ning her, right? Chapter 286. It was unknown what Chen Ning was thinking about, but she didn't hear it clearly. She casually asked, who am I not allowed to like? Chu Xiaobai's face turned slightly red. When he wanted to say something, his expression suddenly changed. He gave a shoo sound to Chen Ning and said, someone's coming. His expression turned serious, like an enemy had come. Chen Ning's eyes sparkled as she followed Chu Xiaobai's line of sight to look out the window. She saw the cold moonlight in the courtyard, like mercury spilling over the ground, covering the ground in a silver white. She was wondering about this when she saw a leaf being blown away by the wind. There was an extra gray-clothed figure in the courtyard. Xiao He. She thought that it was Mo Chuan who had returned, but upon closer inspection, it wasn't. The gray-clothed figure bowed down to Chu Xiaobai. This subordinate greets King Jing, and Chu Xiaobai's lips slightly twitched as he snappily said, Zhui Feng, why is it you? What matter do you have with this king that you actually found this place? You really are worthy of the Zhui Feng name, your tracking skills are well deserved. The gray-clothed figure stood up, King Jing'an's praise, this subordinate does not dare accept it. King Jing'an, the emperor has an edict. Emperor. Chu Xiaobai knit his brows and helplessly said, speak, what matter does the emperor have with me? He wouldn't be calling this king to play chess with him, right? Go and tell the emperor that this king doesn't have time. Your Highness doesn't have time to play chess with the emperor, but you do have time to chat with the Ding Yuan princess. The gray-clothed Zhui Feng softly said as he looked over at Chen Ning. Zhui Feng. You brat, your words are becoming more and more lawless. Don't rely on the emperor's support to not put this king in your eyes. Chu Xiaobai's face turned serious as he revealed a stern expression. This subordinate does not dare. This subordinate is only following the emperor's orders to send your highness a decree. As for what I shouldn't hear or see, I won't hear or see. Zhui Feng bowed to Chu Xiaobai in a very respectful manner. Chu Xiaobai's expression relaxed a bit as he said, what does the emperor want this king to do? Zhui Feng replied, the emperor has a very important matter for your highness to do, and this matter requires your highness to make a move. This is the emperor's secret edict, your highness will know once you see it. He took out a yellow handkerchief from his chest and presented it to Chu Xiaobai with both hands. Chu Xiaobai asked in a suspicious voice, when the emperor orders me, didn't he say you? Why did he write an imperial edict today? He stretched out his hand to take it. When he saw that the ink was still wet, he became even more suspicious. He looked around and asked, "Did the emperor just write this?" Shui Feng gave a cough and said, "This is sweat from this subordinate's body." Chu Xiaobai looked over the words on the decree and found that it was indeed the emperor's handwriting. But when he saw the content, he immediately said in an angry voice, "This is the important matter that requires this king's attention. Is your majesty teasing this prince?" Shui Feng replied, "This subordinate does not know. This subordinate is only responsible for passing the decree. As for whether to follow the decree or not, it is up to your highness." Chu Xiaobai gave a cold laugh, "You're pushing everything away. Wang Ye, the Empress Dowager has fallen ill from worry and the emperor is busy with court affairs. Only if Wang Ye takes care of this matter will the emperor be at ease." "All right, I'll go. You can report to the emperor. Once the sun rises, this king will immediately leave." Chu Xiaobai gave a helpless sigh. Shui Feng stood in the same spot without moving. "Why aren't you leaving?" Chu Xiaobai looked over at him and asked. "The emperor has a decree, asking your highness to leave immediately." Chapter 287. Shui Feng's eyes looked at Qin Ning again before bowing and saying, "This subordinate will leave. Your highness. Please leave as soon as possible." He slowly moved back and the gray figure gently swayed before quickly disappearing. "Xiaobai, who is this Shui Feng?" Chen Ning saw this and could vaguely guess a few things. "He is the emperor's most trusted secret guard." Chu Xiaobai let out a long sigh. His face was filled with anger as he said, "This emperor uncle just likes to cause trouble for me. Ning, I have something to do in the capital, so I won't be able to accompany you for a few days. You have to take care of yourself. Also, you have to keep your distance from that brat He, otherwise he won't have any good intentions towards you." Chen Ning secretly felt this was very funny. She suppressed her laughter and nodded as she said, "All right, I understand. You can go in peace." Chu Xiaobai did not mention it and she did not ask what it was. As long as it was something related to the emperor's family, it was better to know as little as possible. "You can be assured, I will definitely come back on the day of the big hunt. I will think of a way to help you win and I will not let you be imprisoned by my third brother for the rest of your life. Ning, wait for me to come back." Chen Ning nodded with a faint smile. "Xiaobai, it's not like we're going to be separated forever, you don't need to be this reluctant." Chu Xiaobai's face turned red again. He was indeed reluctant. He had just tasted a bit of sweetness with her when the emperor's decree broke them apart. He had a stomach full of things to say, but he didn't even have time to say them. Not knowing why, he suddenly had a feeling that when he came back, perhaps she would no longer be his. "Ning, can I hug you again?" He gathered his courage and looked at her, nervously beating his heart. Chen Ning's face couldn't help turning red. Before she could say anything, she heard Shui Feng's voice sound out from outside the window again. "Your highness is not in a rush to hug a beauty. When your highness comes back, what is yours will still be yours." The voice was leisurely and had a hint of ridicule in it. "Shui Feng, you brat, you're seeking death." Chu Xiaobai was embarrassed and angry. He suddenly jumped out the window and turned to look at Qin Ning, saying, "Wait for me." His white robe flashed and he had already jumped into the flowers to the side. When Chu Xiaobai left, he promised that he would come back before the big hunt, but Qin Ning did not have a habit of not fighting a battle. Even if Chu Xiaobai didn't appear that day, she would not give up so easily. Since it was a hunting event, not only did it require excellent horsemanship, but it also required excellent archery. Chen Ning knew that her archery was her weak point, so she placed a few grass targets in the yard and began to practice her archery. However, archery wasn't something that could be done in one go, and a good memory wasn't enough to make every arrow hit. Every time she shot an arrow, it would either hit the edge of the target, or it would fly out of the target and land on the ground beside the target. Chin mo chin. You. Chen, he ning again. As he. Even though Chin Ning was used to his sneaky movements, she was still shocked. Her fingers loosened and the arrow flew out of her hand. However, it flew away from its target and flew straight at Xiao Ru, who was watching from the side. Xiao Ru was stunned and stood in place, not moving at all. Xiao Ru, quickly get out of the way! Chen Ning exclaimed. Chapter 288. He grabbed the tail of the arrow in the air. The arrow tip was less than a foot away from Xiao Ru's chest. It was truly a close call. Chen Ning broke out in a cold sweat. She rushed over to hug Xiao Ru and comforted her. Xiao Ru had escaped from death. After a while, she let out a wah cry. She thanked Mo Chuan while sobbing. Bodyguard He, thank you for saving me. Mo Chuan looked at her and softly said, your young miss is practicing archery, it's not safe here. What did he mean? Was he thinking that her archery skills were too bad? Chen Ning suspiciously looked at Mo Chuan. Who would have thought that Xiao Ru would understand? She blinked and said, young miss, with bodyguard He teaching you archery, you can definitely beat that bastard highness. This servant will go help Chun Tao make some desserts. Bodyguard He, there are your favorite plum blossom cakes and lotus cakes. After saying this, she giggled and ran away. Chen Ning had told Chun Tao how to make these two desserts. After Chun Tao made them, everyone tasted them and felt that they were delicious, but they never thought that Mo Chuan would eat them the most. Chen Ning never thought that a cold assassin like Mo Chuan would like to eat sweet and crispy food. Mo Chuan's eyes slightly narrowed as he watched Xiao Ru run away. Everyone said that this girl was stupid, but she was actually quite smart when she needed to be. You have to hold the bow like this. Hold the bow between your thumb and index finger, put the arrow on the bend of your index finger, and pull the bowstring with the 3 fingers of your right hand. Mo Chuan took the bow from Chen Ning's hands and took an arrow from the side. He placed the arrow on the bow and began to demonstrate. Don't look at the target. Pull it slowly, like this. His hands loosened. Xiao! The arrow flew through the air and hit the bull's eye. Good archery. Chen Ning clapped her hands and praised. Mo Chuan looked at her in a non-committal manner and gave the bow to her. You do it. Chen Ning held the bow like he did before. Mo Chuan shook his head and said, no, it's like this. His large palm reached out and grabbed her hand. Mo Chuan shook his head and said, it's not right, it's like this. Chen Ning was very serious, not noticing that the two of them were in a very intimate position. Mo Chuan's tall and slender body was tall and his long arms wrapped around her chest. Her back was leaning against his chest as her eyes lit up and she revealed a faint smile. Shoot! When Mo Chuan's voice fell, Chen Ning let go and the arrow flew out. This time it did not miss and it hit the bull eye. Not bad, you learn very quickly. Mo Chuan slightly lowered his head and looked at her. A few strands of her soft hair brushed past the tip of his nose. It was a little ticklish and carried a little sweet fragrance. It was exactly the same as the scent that was emitted from her body. He suddenly remembered the night when she was drunk. On the empty street, he had also hugged her like this. At that time, her cheeks were red, and she was talking and laughing. She even said that he was a big bad wolf and she was a little white rabbit. Looking at her petite appearance as she leaned against his chest, she really did look like a little white rabbit. Chen Mo.S. Then Chen Ning did not notice his burning gaze on her face. This was her first time hitting the bullseye, so she was very excited. She turned around and said, "Xiao Hei, I." She did not know that he had lowered his head and was very close to her. When she turned around, her forehead coincidentally touched his thin lips. It was like she was purposely turning her head to let him kiss her. The two of them were both stunned. For a moment, neither of them moved. Chapter 289. Chen Ning's reaction was much more natural than his. Shaking hands, hugging, and kissing cheeks to her from the modern era was just a kind of polite contact. It did not mean anything ambiguous. She was just a little embarrassed. She coughed softly and left his embrace. She faintly raised her eyebrows and picked up another arrow. She placed it on the bow and said with a smile, "This time, I'll shoot it myself. If I hit it, I'll worship you as my teacher." Mo Chuan's eyes stared right at her face and there was a strange flame in his eyes. His chest was filled with an inexplicable anger. How could she act like nothing had happened? Could it be that the touch just now was purely an illusion? Did nothing happen between them? Yeah, it didn't hit. Chen Ning shook her head in regret and put down the bow. Looking over, she saw that Mo Chuan was still in the same position without moving at all. It seemed like he still hadn't recovered from that accident. Chen Ning rubbed her nose and her face began to slightly heat up. She really didn't do it on purpose. This Mo Chuan, would he misunderstand that she was taking advantage of him? That's right, the ancient people always took this kind of thing very seriously. Wu, Xiao Hei, just now. Just now. It was a pure accident, it was just a coincidence. Oh, no, it was just me turning around. I really didn't want to take advantage of you, hey. Why are you staring at me like that? You wouldn't want me to take responsibility, right? Actually, it wasn't a big deal, wasn't it just your lips accidentally touching my forehead? If you think you suffered a loss, then I'll give it back to you. She looked up and kissed his chin with a paw sound. Who told him to be too tall? Even if she stood on her tiptoes, she wouldn't be able to kiss his forehead, so she could only use his chin to kiss him. But after kissing him, she realized that he was wearing a human skin mask and her lips were kissing a dead person's skin. Her face instantly changed and her throat felt itchy as she began to vomit in disgust. Mo Chuan still had not recovered from her sudden kiss. Seeing her disgusting appearance, his face turned green, then purple, and then black like the bottom of a pot. His hands turned into fists and his joints began to crack. His eyes seemed like they were about to spit fire, just like an enraged lion. She, what was the meaning of this? Was there anyone who humiliated people like this? Just kissing him made her this disgusting? He wasn't some dirty thing that couldn't be seen. In that instant, Mo Chuan had a strong urge to strangle this woman to death. Chen Ning rubbed her chest and suddenly felt a chill run down her back. She turned around to see Mo Chuan's frighteningly cold eyes and his furrowed brows, instantly making her jump in fright. Why did it seem like she had angered him? She didn't do anything at all. Mo Chuan did his best to control his breathing. Each word was squeezed out from between his teeth, bringing with it a cold chill. Mo of the two. Chen Ning was stunned for a second, but then she realized why he was so angry. She broke out in laughter, laughing as she fell back and forth. It's not that I think you're dirty, it's that you're wearing a human skin mask. When I think about who knows which dead person's skin I just kissed, and it might even be the skin of a butt, I want to vomit. Ugh. She laughed. When she said the word, but, her stomach churned and she almost vomited again. Chapter 290. Are you feeling better now? Mo Chuan's low and gentle voice came from above her head. There was no anger in his voice at all. He was no longer angry, not even a little angry. Much better. His palm had a gentle strength that made her feel much more comfortable. She looked up at him with a smile and was instantly stunned. He had actually taken off the mask on his face. The faint golden sunlight shone on his face, causing his pair of cold and handsome eyes to become overflowing with color. His temperament was distant and cold. When he was not talking or smiling, he was like a green lotus that could topple the world, but under the sunlight, he was like a resplendent body of light, sparkling and dazzling. When she was drunk that night, she was only amazed at his good looks. Now that she was carefully looking at him under the sunlight, the only word she could think of to describe him was still that one word. Good looking. He lowered his eyes to look at her. His pupils were very black, his eyelashes were thick, his skin was as warm as jade, and his lips were slightly pursed, revealing a faint red. After a long time, Chen Ning finally gave a regretful sigh. Xiao He, you're so good-looking, but you chose to be an assassin. What a pity. Mo Chuan's face turned dark again. His brows revealed a trace of anger, but it made him look even more beautiful. Then what do you think I should do? He said through gritted teeth. Relying on one's face to make a living, other than the brothel girls, what else could there be? This girl was clearly scolding him in a roundabout way. Chen Ning was stunned for a bit, but then she revealed a smile. You can become the emperor, she said in a serious voice. What did you say? Mo Chuan's brows jumped up and his pupils instantly shrank. A single smile can topple a city, another smile can topple a country. You're this good-looking, if you become the emperor, as long as you smile at your enemy countries or ministers, they will all kneel at your feet. Wouldn't that save a lot of manpower and resources? The colder he was, the more Chen Ning wanted to tease him. Thinking of the last time she saw him, he always released a cold aura and killing intent, but now she couldn't feel it at all. Didn't this mean that in front of her, he was just pretending to be strong on the outside? Mo Chuan's chin tightened and his dark eyes became deep and cold. She found that although he had taken off his mask, she still couldn't see through him. Are you angry? I was just joking with you. If you don't like it, then I won't say it next time. She remembered that he was an assassin and he was a proud man. A man like him, what he hated the most was being judged by others. Everyone had their reverse scale. It seemed like his face was his reverse scale and she couldn't touch it. Chen Ning stuck her tongue out and said, so dangerous. Don't go, let's start. He grasped her shoulder and stopped her from turning away. Mo Chuan. He did not say anything. Mo Chuan. What do you mean? She blinked her eyes. Seeing his dark eyes staring at her, she suddenly understood and blushed. It turned out that he took off his mask so that she could kiss his chin again. Chen Ning was embarrassed and angry. Her clear eyes stared right at him. She wanted to see just how thick this man's skin was. Mo Chuan calmly looked at her without any ripples in his eyes. Chapter 291. The calmer he was, the redder Chen Ning's face became. She didn't know where she got the courage to kiss him, but now he was seriously asking her for the kiss she owed him. All right, I'll return it to you. Chen Ning bit her lips. It was just a kiss, it wasn't like she would lose a piece of flesh. Mo Chuan stood straight with his chin slightly raised, looking like he was waiting for a kiss. How could this fellow be so tall? Chen Ning cursed in her heart. His head was lowered before, so she could kiss him when she looked up, but now she needed to stand on her tiptoes to kiss him. Pang, 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 pang. Her hand was placed on his chest and she could feel his heart beating very fast, but his face still had that cold and indifferent look. She never thought that this fellow would say something different. Chen Ning secretly found this funny and deliberately complained, why are you so tall, I can't reach you. Mo Chuan's body slightly froze and his thick eyelashes blinked down. Then he slowly lowered his head with a calm expression. Her stomach was about to burst from laughing, but as soon as she saw his dark and deep eyes, which were like two deep wells, her smile froze on her lips. No. She couldn't look into this fellow's eyes, it was simply bewitching. Chen Ning felt like her heart was beating as fast as his. She quickly looked down and took a deep breath. She slightly pouted her lips and kissed his chin. She was prepared to quickly finish the kiss she owed him and then leave. Dang! The sound of plates shattering came from behind them, followed by Xiao Ru's shocked scream. Young miss, what are you doing? Chen Ning quickly pushed Mo Chuan away and jumped far away from him. Her face was as red as an apple. Not far from them, Xiao Ru's mouth was wide open and her eyes were wide open, revealing a look of disbelief. Under her feet was a pile of broken porcelain plates, and freshly baked plum cakes and lotus cakes were scattered all over the ground, giving off a fragrant and piping hot air. Xiao Ru, you're not allowed to shout. Chen Ning rushed over to cover Xiao Ru's mouth before she could let out a second scream. This girl who made a fuss over nothing, was she prepared to let everyone know? There was nothing between her and Mo Chuan, but with her shouting like this, it seemed like there was something. Actually, there was nothing at all. Woo, 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 woo. Xiao Ru's eyes turned. She wanted to say something, but her mouth was covered by Chen Ning. Remember. You're not allowed to speak, you're not allowed to shout. Forget what you just saw. Forget it all. Remember, there is nothing between me and him, nothing has happened at all. Chen Ning gave her a warning look. Woo, 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 woo. Xiao Ru seemed to understand as she blinked and nodded. Chen Ning let out a sigh of relief and then said, you're not allowed to shout. Xiao Ning nodded. Xiao Chen Ning. Xiao Ru let out a long sigh. She stared at Mo Chuan who had taken off his mask and her eyes almost popped out. You are. Guard hey. Chen Ning heard her take a deep breath. He could only blame Mo Chuan for being too handsome, no wonder he wore a human skin mask all day. If he revealed his face and walked on the street, he would instantly become the focus of everyone's attention. Chapter 292. Mo Chuan was indeed very good-looking, but his face was not very good right now. His face was calm, but his cold eyes made Xiao Ru shiver several times from the cold. He decided to take back his words from before. This stupid girl would always be a stupid girl. Humph. He gave a cold snort and turned to leave. When he passed by Chen Ning, his lips slightly parted and she could clearly hear two words. Only two words came out. I owe you. Under the dazzling sunlight, his black-clothed figure disappeared into the flowers in a flash. Chen Ning's face turned hot again. Owe you. She couldn't even remember how many things she owed him. Thinking of how Xiao Ru had seen her tiptoeing to kiss him like she had been bewitched, she felt her face turn even hotter and her body turn even hotter. This sun is really poisonous, why is it so hot? I want to get some air and get some fresh air. Xiao Ru, stop right there, you're not allowed to follow me. I'm just going out for a walk. Chen Ning patted her burning cheeks. She sped up and quickly left the flowing cloud pavilion. Xiao Ru looked up at the sky covered in dark clouds in a daze. Where was the sun? The young miss was clearly lying with her eyes wide open. She thought of eldest young Miss's completely red face and realized that eldest young Miss was actually shy. Chen Ning walked out of the flowing cloud pavilion's gates and walked along the shore filled with willows. Her heart was in a mess, and thinking of the scene just now, her face turned hot. It was clearly an unintentional touch, but it had turned into something else. It was like there was something going on between them. What did that Chuan mean? The more she thought about it, the more she felt like he was teasing her. Don't look at his calm, cold, and indifferent appearance, he was actually very bad in his bones. Humph. If I owe you, then I'll never return it. Chen Ning hatefully thought. While walking, she casually broke off a willow branch and broke it into pieces. Pang! She suddenly felt a pain in her nose, like she had bumped into something disgusting. Her eyes instantly filled with tears. How bold! Who dares to attack this king? Do you not want to live anymore? A cold voice sounded from above her head. That familiar voice made Chen Ning's body tremble. Chu Xiaoyang. She slightly looked up and saw Chu Xiaoyang's usual black robe. There was a golden python embroidered on the chest with 5 colored threads. She rubbed her nose and angrily thought, why did he come to the flowing cloud pavilion for no reason? He was just standing there like a tree, not moving at all, causing her to bump into him while she was walking. Enemies really met on a narrow road. Chu Xiaoyang had been standing here for a long time, so long that he almost turned into a statue. He didn't know why he had come to Little Mirror Lake. He just stared at the mirror-like surface of the lake, lost in thought. He did not like water, and he was even afraid of it. 8 years ago, he lost his footing and fell into the water. That terrifying experience was still fresh in his memory, so although this Little Mirror Lake was beautiful, he rarely came here. But today, he had somehow walked over here and stood there for 4 hours. Xiao Xiao Chuan he shi he he. In the dark lake water, his body slowly sank. His heart was filled with fear and despair. He reached out his hands in the water, trying to find a life-saving straw. Chapter 293. He drank large mouthfuls of water. His stomach bulged and his lungs felt like they were going to explode. The suffocation in front of him made his eyes turn black. Am I going to die? Am I really going to die? At this moment, he saw someone break through the water and quickly swim over to him, firmly holding onto his ice-cold hand. He had already fallen into a half-conscious state, allowing that person to bring him up to the surface of the lake. That person's jet black hair danced in the water and her arms were nimbly moving in the water. Slightly tilting her head, Chu Xiaoyang could see her face. It was a little girl. She was only 7-8 years old, but she was already beautiful and refined. It made him feel as if a bright moon had risen, its clear radiance dispelling the darkness of the lake. He wanted to ask, "Little girl, are you a fairy from the lake? Or a fairy formed from a lotus flower?" But when he opened his mouth, the lake water continued to enter his mouth, so he could only tightly close his mouth. He could not speak, but he could smile. His smile was like a spring breeze. "Little girl, no matter who you are, even if you are a mountain spirit or a water monster, I will take you. When you grow up, I will definitely take you as my wife." His consciousness slowly fell into unconsciousness. When he woke up from his unconsciousness and opened his eyes, he saw her. It was still that little girl. She was kneeling beside him, with her black cloud-like hair covering her face and body. She looked like a mess, but in his eyes, she was still that beautiful. Her large black eyes kept pouring out tears as she kept saying, "Don't die, don't die." He smiled. "Silly girl, I still have to wait for you to grow up and marry you, how could I bear to die?" He tightly held her hand, wanting to tell her this. But before he could say anything, he fell back into unconsciousness. Later, Chu Xiaoyang's fingers deeply dug into the tree trunk as he stared at the lake with eyes filled with hatred and loathing. Although he had married her as he wished, he could never let her become his legal princess, his only wife. Chen Ning. It's you, it's all because of you. It's all because of you that I broke the promise I made in the past, it's all because of you. He fiercely gritted his teeth. Thinking of how he had kicked her into the lake that day, he gritted his teeth and said, "Why didn't you drown back then?" His entire mind was engulfed in hatred, and he didn't notice anyone approaching. Until Chen Ning bumped into his chest, suddenly waking him up. Then he flew into a rage. "Who are you?" He grabbed Chen Ning's collar and asked in a sharp voice. "It's over, she can't run." Chen Ning wanted to look up, but she suddenly realized that she had no makeup on her face. Damn! She immediately lowered her head, almost burying it in her neck. She said vaguely, "I am a servant girl in the manor. You are not a maid at all." Chu Xiaoyang gave a cold laugh. Among the maids in this king's palace, who dares to not call themselves servants in front of this king? Chen Ning never thought that her words would expose her. She secretly cursed Chu Xiaoyang for being so cunning and slippery, nothing could escape his eyes. "If you don't tell the truth, then this king will throw you into the lake to feed the turtles." Chu Xiaoyang's sharp voice cut her off. She continued to bury her head and vaguely said, This servant has just entered the palace and doesn't know the rules yet. If you don't tell the truth, then this king will throw you into the lake to feed the turtles." Chu Xiaoyang's sharp voice cut her off. Chen Ning's eyes turned, trying to think of an excuse to get past this. Chapter 294. This faint familiar scent was the unique scent of her body. It was still fresh in his mind when he was in her room yesterday, but she always had heavy makeup on when she appeared in front of him. That thick makeup made his nose hurt. Hearing Chu Xiaoyang call out her name, Chen Ning's head became bigger with a "weng" sound. Her face was completely clean without a single trace of makeup on. He would immediately recognize her as the culprit who threw those 2 thunderbolt eggs at him. There was no one here, so even if he killed her, no one would know. No, she couldn't let him recognize her. "Chen Ning, weren't you insulting this king yesterday? How come you don't even dare raise your head when you see this king today?" Chu Xiaoyang saw that her head was lowered, revealing her beautiful neck and snow-white skin. His heart slightly skipped a beat, but then he curled his cold lips into a cold smile. "You were quite courageous yesterday and had quite the courage, so this king spared your life. I never thought that you were faking it. Now that you've been exposed, you're a fellow as timid as a mouse. Do you think this king will let you go today?" His body was filled with a cold killing intent. Chen Ning couldn't help grinding her teeth. She could hear that this bastard highness was speaking the truth. He really wanted her dead. Damn Mo Chuan, where was her bodyguard? Why hadn't he appeared yet? She was about to be silenced by this bastard highness. This really is heaven giving you a path, but you don't want to take it. Chen Ning, you've delivered yourself to me, so don't blame this king for being merciless. Chu Xiaoyang felt like the heavens were protecting him. The person he was gritting his teeth with hatred had suddenly fallen into his embrace. "Chen Ning, you're about to die, what else do you have to say?" he coldly said. He saw that she still had her head down, not saying a single word. This wasn't like the way she usually acted in front of him, with a smile that wasn't a smile but was also unruly. He began to suspect that the woman in front of him was not Chen Ning. "Raise your head," he yelled. He grabbed her chin and forcefully lifted it up, forcing her to look up. His cold gaze fell on her clean face and he immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. "You. Who are you?" he said in a hoarse voice. Chen Ning turned her head to the side and did not even look at him. She disdainfully said, "You already know the answer. Are you really Chen Ning?" He pinched her chin. That familiar smooth feeling told him that it was Chen Ning without a doubt. But her face. Although she didn't have a thick layer of makeup like usual, her eyes were crooked and her mouth was crooked. Chu Xiaoyang took another look and felt a wave of disgust. He reached out and pushed her away, causing her back to hit a tree trunk. How did your face become like this? His face was filled with disgust. If he looked at her again, he would vomit. Chen Ning squeezed her big and small eyes and twisted her lips. She said in a slurred voice, "This princess becoming like this is all thanks to your highness. Yesterday you broke my window and didn't send anyone to help me fix it. In the end, the wind was strong and blew all night, so this princess' face became crooked from the wind. Chen, you of my eyes. Don't you want my life? You." Chapter 295. Chen Ning, your heart is evil, your appearance is ugly. Your heart is like a snake, that's why you look like this. You reap what you sow, this is God's punishment for you. This king won't kill you, but if this king lets you die, it would be too easy on you, humph. Chu Xiaoyang waved his sleeve and walked away, not looking back again. Chen Ning waited until Chu Xiaoyang's shadow disappeared before she rubbed her face. She no longer pretended to have that crooked mouth and eyes. Her back was covered in a cold sweat. If she hadn't thought of this method in a moment of desperation, she would have lost her little life already. So dangerous, so dangerous. She wiped the cold sweat off her face and quickly walked towards the flowing cloud pavilion. Who would have thought that as soon as she entered the flowing cloud pavilion, the hairs on the back of her neck would stand up and she would feel a chill. She did not need to turn around to know what was going on. That damn Chu Xiaoyang had returned. Don't turn around, this king doesn't want to see your ugly face. It really was Chu Xiaoyang. Following that, a veil fell into her hands. Chen Ning stopped in shock. Put it on, this king has something to say to you. Chu Xiaoyang said. Could it be that when he left, he went to get her a veil? Chen Ning muttered in her heart as she put the veil on her face. Humph, how could that bastard highness be this kind? He must have thought that her face was too ugly and was afraid of dirtying his eyes, so he made her wear a veil. This was exactly what she wanted to do. It saved her the trouble of pretending to have that crooked mouth and eyes. If you have something to say, then say it. Chen Ning turned around and looked at him with a faint expression. She found that his brows were slightly knit and his eyes were staring at the haystacks in the corner, looking like he was thinking of something. She could see that the killing intent in his eyes had disappeared and his face was filled with disdain and disgust. You're practicing archery. Chu Xiaoyang's lips curled into a taunting smile. You want to win against this king on the day of the big hunt. With just your poor archery skills, you really are dreaming. He noticed that only one of the 3 haystacks had an arrow stuck in the center of the bullseye, while the rest of the arrows were scattered around. At a glance, he could tell that this was the level of a beginner. Even if she was a genius, it was impossible for her to learn archery in just 3 short days. So, she was bound to lose. It's still the same words, don't be too confident. Even if my archery skills aren't good enough, how do you know that I won't be able to beat you in 3 days? Although Chen Ning was wearing a veil, her eyes were bright and filled with determination. Very good. Chu Xiaoyang nodded. This was the Chen Ning he was familiar with. Stubborn and unwilling to admit defeat, but he would make her admit defeat sooner or later. Chen Ning, watch this carefully. He gently lifted the hem of his robe and slowly rolled up his long sleeves. He picked up the iron limb bow at the side and took out 10 long arrows from the quiver. He stretched his long arms and pulled the bowstring. Chen Ning's eyes opened wide. He had actually 10 arrows at the same time. Chen Ning had 10 arrows at once. Could it be that he knew the legendary cloud-piercing rapid arrow? Shin, a series of arrows rained down on the bullseye. Each arrow pierced through the tail of the previous arrow and split the shaft in two. Finally, there was only one arrow left in the bullseye. The arrows were still shaking. If she had not seen it with her own eyes, Chen Ning would have found it hard to believe that there was such a magical archery skill in this world. Good archery skills. Chen Ning sincerely clapped her hands in praise. Chapter 296. No wonder Chu Xiaobai's expression changed when he heard that she was making a bet with his third brother. This bastard highness archery skills were not just for show. But, what did he mean by showing this skill in front of her? Chen Ning, you can't win against this king. Chu Xiaoyang's hand holding the bow slightly trembled and that iron-like bow suddenly broke in two. He threw the broken bow to the ground and coldly looked at Chen Ning from the corner of his eyes. She suddenly understood what he meant. He was here to show off his skill. He wanted her to retreat. Your Highness' continuous arrow technique is indeed beautiful, but the target is dead and the prey is alive. So, it is still too early to say who will win and who will lose. Chen Ning still had that disapproving tone. Chu Xiaoyang's heart was filled with rage. This woman was always this arrogant in front of him, never willing to lower her head and admit defeat. Chen Ning, this king wants to give you one last chance. Oh, chance. What chance? She narrowed her eyes. Chu Xiaoyang took a breath and suppressed the anger in his heart. He slowly said, this king wants you to submit a request to the court and become a concubine. As long as you give up the legal princess position, this king can spare your life and give you that date red horse. You can also live in the flowing cloud pavilion, and as long as you continue to abide by the rules of a woman, this king will not make it hard for you and will guarantee that you will not have to worry about food or clothing for the rest of your life. The way he spoke was filled with arrogance. He did not even look at Chen Ning, as if he was giving her a great gift. In Chu Xiaoyang's heart, this was already the biggest concession he could make. He wanted her to die, but now he was willing to let her keep the status of a concubine and let her live in the flowing cloud pavilion. She should be grateful to him. Interesting. Chu Xiaoyang, you really have the nerve to say these words. When Chen Ning heard this, she almost burst out in laughter. Chu Xiaoyang raised his brows and viciously said, what do you mean? Nothing. Chen Ning raised her brows and gave a cold smile. I just want to tell you that as long as I, Chen Ning, am here, the legal princess position will never fall into Chen Baiyun's hands. Chu Xiaoyang, I have never cared about the princess position, but I, Chen Ning, am not someone you can marry and divorce as you wish. If you want a divorce, it can only be me divorcing you and not you divorcing me. Don't worry, I will report to the imperial court, but I will not ask to step down. Instead, I will divorce a heartless and ungrateful person like you. Chen Ning. Shut up. Chu Xiaoyang was so angry that his face turned green. He tightly clenched his fists, wishing he could send this woman to hell. Good, very good. This king is telling you, you will only bring shame upon yourself. 3 days later, you will be imprisoned here by this king for the rest of your life and become this king's slave for the rest of your life. He angrily turned and left. In your dreams. Chen Ning curled her lips at his back. Chu Xiaoyang's footsteps slightly paused, but then he left without looking back. He felt like he had come here for nothing. He had actually gone crazy and wanted to give this ugly girl a chance to live. In the end, not only did this girl not appreciate his kindness, she even dared to say that she wanted to divorce him. This was simply too ridiculous. Chapter 297. Although Chen Ning had boasted, she had personally seen Chu Xiaoyang's archery skills. She really did not know how to win this battle. She saw the broken iron bow that Chu Xiaoyang had thrown on the ground, and she did not have the heart to practice archery. Even if she trained for another 3 years, she could not compare to Chu Xiaoyang. She gloomily walked back to her room. There was no news of Xiaobai. What if he couldn't make it back before the big hunt? Even if he made it back, could he win against Chu Xiaoyang? No, she had to rely on herself. She had to think of a foolproof method. His archery skills are very good, you can't compare to him. Mo Chuan's figure appeared from the flowers. Hearing this, Chen Ning knew that he had seen everything that had just happened. I know, but I have to win. She gritted her teeth. Why? Just for a horse. Mo Chuan knit his pretty brows. That is indeed a good horse, but it's not the only good horse in the world. If you like horses, I can give you a better one. Of course it's not for a horse. Although I like that horse, I won't throw away my happiness for a horse. I just can't accept it, so I have to win. What if you lose? Will you be his slave for the rest of your life? Mo Chuan's dark eyes looked at her. I won't lose. Chen Ning raised her brows and took off her veil. Thinking that this veil was something that Chu Xiaoyang brought, she threw it on the ground and forcefully stepped on it a few times. Actually, Chu Xiaoyang, he is not a heartless person. If you really lose, as long as you lower your head to him, he won't make it hard for you. The fact that he was willing to say these words to you today means that he still cares about you. Mo Chuan thought about it and slowly said. Cares about me? She looked up with a cold smile and said in a sarcastic voice, that's right, he really cares about me. On the night of our wedding, when I fainted from vomiting blood, he sent me to the wooden hut to fend for myself because he cares about me. On the 3rd day of our wedding, he impatiently took Chen Baiyun as his concubine because he cares about me. He has tried to take my life for Chen Baiyun several times because he cares about me. To be cared for by a man like this, Chen Ning, am very lucky. You don't know, Chu Xiaoyang, he. Mo Chuan had a complicated expression. Chu Xiaoyang, Chu Xiaoyang. Chen Ning cut him off with a tsk. Hearing the name Chu Xiaoyang made her head hurt. She looked at Mo Chuan. Xiao Hei, who is this Chu Xiaoyang to you? Why are you helping him? Do you know that he almost threw me into the lake to feed the turtles just now? Didn't you know that he almost threw me into the lake? Chuan Chen, didn't you say that he would you? Recalling the scene just now, she couldn't help but shiver. If it weren't for her resourcefulness, she wouldn't have been able to survive until now. So, you were there just now. She was angry. Then why didn't you come out to save me? Chapter 298. If he saw my face, would he let me go? Chen Ning countered with a question. You want him to be enchanted by my appearance. Do you know that I threw 2 thunderbolt eggs at him, almost destroying his face? He clearly saw my face at that time, and if he found out that I was the one who blew him up, what do you think he would do? Thunderbolt eggs? What is that? Why don't you tell me? Mo Chuan was filled with interest. Chen Ning's heart filled with pride when she thought of this. She did not hide anything and told him everything that had happened. After Mo Chuan heard this, although he found it funny, he broke out in a cold sweat for her. You really are daring. Do you know what kind of martial arts Chu Xiaoyang has? How could you dare to provoke him? If it wasn't for your good luck, you would have been buried under his palm. You're not allowed to do this kind of stupid thing in the future. He said in a commanding voice. All right, I won't do it in the future. Chen Ning did not feel this was strange as she honestly nodded. I heard that Chu Xiaoyang had made a series of loud farts in the royal court not long ago. Could it be something you did? Mo Chuan suddenly asked. The corner of his mouth couldn't help twitching. Chen Ning bent over in laughter when she heard this. I never thought that you would be so resourceful. You even know about this. Her brows lit up. Truly good things don't go out, but bad things travel 1,000 miles. I think that everyone in the capital knows about Chu Xiaoyang's disgrace, right? This is what it means to have evil retribution. You little girl, it really was you. How did you do it? Mo Chuan wanted to laugh, but he suppressed it. I can't tell you this. If you offend me one day, I'll use this move to deal with you. Chen Ning rolled her eyes. Her sly appearance was just like that of a fox. Then do you know what the consequences of offending me are? Mo Chuan's expression did not change. He placed his hands behind his back like he didn't care at all. The more he acted like this, the more Chen Ning couldn't see through him. She stuck out her tongue and giggled as she said, I don't dare, I'm afraid you'll cut off my head in the middle of the night. If I wanted to cut off your head, why would I need to wait until the middle of the night? He looked at her. Then will you cut off my head? She looked up at him and asked. He thought about it seriously for a moment, then looked down at her with a faint smile on his face. No. He paused for a moment, then said, never. Chen Ning's heart uncontrollably beat and her cheeks seemed to turn slightly hot. She quickly lowered her head to avoid his gaze, but her heart was beating wildly like a little deer, fluttering non-stop in her heart. Chen Ning, Chen Ning, what happened to you? He didn't say anything pleasant. All he said was that he wouldn't cut off her head. Was there a need for her to be so happy? There must be something bewitching about this man. She'd better stay away from him. She despised herself as she quickened her pace, wanting to leave. Mo Chuan suddenly reached out and grabbed her arm. Her heart jumped again, but she pretended to be calm and said, what? I'll ask you one last time. Mo Chuan seriously looked into her eyes and said word for word, if Chu Xiaoyang repents and wholeheartedly treats you well, are you willing to give him a chance? His black eyes flashed with a complicated and incomprehensible light. Of course not. Chen Ning said without any hesitation, this kind of man, I think he's dirty. Chapter 299. Chen Ning suspiciously looked at him, feeling like she could not understand him at all. So you're saying that you've made up your mind to separate from him? Separate? Chen Ning curled her lips into a lazy smile. Of course not, I'm going to divorce him. Mo Chuan looked at her firm eyes and his heart suddenly filled with a strange kind of gentleness. Then what if you lose the competition? He deliberately teased her. Chen Ning couldn't help being angry. She forcefully glared at him, Xiao Hei, if you're discouraging me again, I won't return what I owe you. Won't return it? That won't do. Mo Chuan's eyes flashed with a faint smile. That pair of cold eyes instantly became lively. Chen Ning couldn't help looking away as she muttered in her heart. When this person's eyes contained a smile, it was like peach blossoms were blooming. Hey, Xiao Hei, do you know the rules of the hunt? She was just casually asking, but she never thought that Mo Chuan would slowly nod. I know. You really know. Aren't you an assassin? How do you even know this kind of thing? Chen Ning looked at him with doubt. As an assassin, there are many things that we need to know, otherwise we wouldn't even know how we died. If there's anything you don't know, just ask. Then tell me, what was the competition like that day? Chen Ning looked at the green grass on the ground that was like a thick carpet. She sat down on the grass and looked at Mo Chuan with her chin in her hands. Her sitting posture was very casual, without the slightest bit of restraint that a young lady should have. Mo Chuan was a little stunned, but then a smile flashed in his eyes as he sat down beside her. The competition should be held in the royal hunting ground, which is a very large hunting ground. Before the competition starts, there will be large amounts of game, and after the competition starts, there will be free archery. Then the person who shoots the most game in a certain amount of time wins. His words were very concise, and Chen Ning understood once she heard it. This competition is quite fair, but if everyone shoots at the same time, how do we know who shot the game? She then asked. Everyone's arrows will be engraved with a unique mark. In the end, when the prey is inspected, the one with the most arrows will be the one to win. Mo Chuan paused for a bit before saying, every time the royal family hunts, King Ding Yuan will always be the champion. He can shoot 20 cloud-piercing arrows at the same time and can hit different targets. The move he showed you today was not his true strength. Chen Ning couldn't help taking in a cold breath as she said, 20 arrows. Mo Chuan nodded with a serious expression. She tilted her head and she said, then how does your archery skills compare? Your martial arts are so much higher than his, so your archery skills should not be too far off. Do you want to hear the truth? Mo Chuan softly said, in terms of martial arts, he is inferior to me, and in terms of archery, I am inferior to him. AI. Chen Ning gave a sigh and bent her knees. She placed her chin on her knees and fell into a daze. If only Xiaobai could come back in time, she suddenly said. Even if Chu Xiaobai comes back, he won't be able to help. On that day, eldest princess Enlo will personally host the hunt, so you must have heard of her reputation. She is a very fair person and has a fiery temper. No one has ever dared to play tricks under her eyes, and no one has the guts to do so. Even that stinky brat doesn't dare, so you should give up on that thought. Mo Chuan coldly looked at her. Chapter 300. He unconsciously revealed a trace of hostility. Although his expression was very subtle, he was not wearing a mask right now, so his expression did not escape Chen Ning's eyes. You don't seem to like Xiaobai. Do you have a grudge with him? But it doesn't seem like it. If you had a grudge, you would have 100 chances to take his life. When you fought with him, you did not use your full strength at all. Although she was not a martial arts expert, she could still see that with Mo Chuan's strength, as long as Chu Xiaobai was hit by a single punch or kick, he would be heavily injured. Even when Mo Chuan taught Chu Xiaoyang a lesson that day, he did not overdo it. He only made him look bad in front of everyone, but he did not harm a single hair on his head. His every move was completely unlike an assassin who killed without batting an eyelid. Mo Chuan, just who are you? The more she thought about it, the more suspicious she felt. Also, you've been helping me all this time, but you still haven't told me what you want me to help you with. When it's time to tell you, I will naturally tell you. You just need to know that I will not harm you. After he said this with an expressionless face, he casually stood up. He left her with an unfathomable back before disappearing in a flash. Chen Ning angrily pulled out a blade of grass and chewed it in her mouth. Was having good martial arts and archery skills that amazing? These men only knew how to show off in front of her. She decided that she would not ask anyone and would rely on herself. She had to win against that bastard Chu Xiaoyang at the spring hunt. If they really compared horse riding and hunting skills, even 100 Chen Nings couldn't compare to a single Chu Xiaoyang. But who said she couldn't win? She suddenly narrowed her eyes and revealed a proud smile. For the next 3 days, she did not even leave the Flowing Cloud Pavilion's gates. She did not ride a horse or practice archery, living a very leisurely life. The reports that Chu Xiaoyang received every day were all the same. He couldn't help feeling suspicious. Didn't this woman swear that she would win? Or was it because he showed off his godly archery skills that day, so she retreated in the face of difficulties? No matter what it was, winning that competition was as easy as winking for him. After 3 days, it was finally the day of the spring hunt. The spring hunt held by the royal family was a great day that the young masters of the capital looked forward to. This was because on this day, they would be able to show off their elegance and heroism, as well as their horse riding and archery skills. If they could enter the emperor's eyes, their future would be limitless. But they heard that the one hosting this year's spring hunt was not the emperor, but rather eldest princess Enlo, but this did not stop the excited hearts of these young masters. This was because they had all heard a piece of news. The famous King Ding Yuan had made a bet with his princess, betting on who would come out on top in this year's hunt. There was actually someone that dared to bet with King Ding Yuan who had godly archery skills. Everyone knew that King Ding Yuan and his legal princess were like fire and water. If the two of them were to participate in the hunt together, it would be a very wonderful scene. Of every of the royal family. 2. Every royal, every. There were even people who set up a bet in the largest gambling house in the capital to see who would win that day. Almost everyone placed their bets on Chu Xiaoyang's side. When this news reached Chen Ning's ears, she smiled as she took out the 4,000 silver coins and gave it to Xia He. Chapter 301. The royal family's hunting grounds were located on the outskirts of the capital city. It covered a large area, covering 2 mountains. Chu Xiaoyang and Chen Ning left the king's palace early in the morning. Bringing a group of servants, they headed to the outskirts of the capital city. The two of them were riding on the jade flower horse and the date red horse, walking side by side. Chu Xiaoyang was wearing a purple robe that made his figure seem even taller. Riding on the jade flower horse, he looked like he was flying, looking like jade. He won the praise of the citizens on both sides of the street. Chen Ning was wearing the light blue hunting clothes that the eldest princess had given her. Her face was covered with a veil, which caused the surrounding people to talk about her. It's been said that the Ding Yuan princess is an ugly monster. Seeing it today, it seems like it's true. That's right, otherwise why would she wear a veil and not dare to see people? She really is ugly. It's a pity that the handsome King Ding Yuan has married such an ugly woman as his princess. The discussions of the crowd inevitably reached Chu Xiaoyang's ears. He who was in high spirits was instantly filled with shame and anger. He fiercely glared at Chen Ning beside him. Take off your veil. All right. Chen Ning was very straightforward. She reached out and took off her veil. She never thought that the discussions around her would become even louder. She really is ugly. Her face is even uglier than a monkey's butt. Chu Xiaoyang's face turned green with anger. He stared at Chen Ning's red and white face and said, Chen Ning, can you not put that mess on your face? Your Highness, this princess has dressed up for this big hunt and spent an entire 4 hours on it. This princess thinks it looks good, but if your Highness doesn't like it, you don't have to look. Chen Ning casually shrugged her shoulders. After she took off her veil, she looked left and right in an unrestrained manner, earning a wave of boos. Put on the veil. Chu Xiaoyang felt like his face was so hot that he could make a pancake on it. I'll wear it just because you want me to. What do you think I am? Your maid. Chen Ning raised her brows. Seeing that Chu Xiaoyang's nose was crooked from his anger, she slowly put on her veil. Chu Xiaoyang's temples began to throb in pain. He angrily pulled on the horse's reins and squeezed the horse's stomach. The jade flower horse charged forward, leaving Chen Ning far behind. Chen Ning was not in a rush as she slowly rode her date red horse forward. Even if Chu Xiaoyang ran faster, he would still be able to catch her. Sure enough, before she reached the gates of the hunting grounds, she could see Chu Xiaoyang's figure in the distance. You're slower than a tortoise, he growled, as she rode nearer. Chen Ning did not even look at him. She looked at the flags waving in the hunting ground, the strong horses, and the brave young men riding on the backs of the horses. It was very lively. She revealed a smile and praised, "Today is a good day for of hunting." Chu Xiaoyang looked at the young men's faces and he couldn't help clenching his fists. How many lifetimes has this ugly woman not seen a man before? Damn! Chen 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 King. Chen Xiao Chen of Chen Ning. The little eunuch in charge of welcoming them greeted them at the entrance of the hunting grounds. He led them into the hunting grounds to see the eldest princess. Chen of people of the Ling them in, by the Chen of the king, the crowd. In. She was riding on a tall, snow-white horse. Her bright red hunting clothes made her look spirited and full of heroic spirit. Beside her was a pure black horse with a young man wearing a snow-white robe. His face was as white as snow and his face was like a painting. He was cold and elegant, just like a person from a painting. Chen Ning knew that the white-robed handsome young man was without a doubt Yi Tingxian. Chapter 302. Greetings to the eldest princess. Chu Xiaoyang and Chen Ning dismounted and walked into the crowd to greet the eldest princess. Ning, is that you? Why are you wearing that thing on your face? Come, meet my husband. The eldest princess ignored Chu Xiaoyang and waved at Chen Ning. Her face was filled with a smile and her face was glowing. Chen Ning walked over with a smile and bowed to Yi Tingxian. This one greets husband Yi. Yi Tingxian's face was cold as he sat on his horse. Other than the eldest princess, he ignored all the people trying to curry favor with him. At this time, he slightly lowered his eyes and looked at Chen Ning. He raised his hand and said, "No need to be so polite." He didn't like crowds, and he didn't like talking. These words were already a rare honor for him. The eldest princess jumped off her horse and held Chen Ning's hand with an affectionate expression. Seeing this, the jaws of the surrounding noble juniors all dropped. They all wanted to flatter the eldest princess, but the eldest princess didn't care about them at all. Other than Yi Tingxian, she didn't even show a smile to anyone. Who would have thought that when the Dingyuan princess arrived, the eldest princess would change into a different person? Not only did she smile, she even held the princess' hand and whispered to her. Was there something wrong with her eyes and was she seeing things? Ning, I heard that you made a bet with that stinky brat, is this true? The eldest princess pulled Chen Ning to the side and asked with a worried expression. It's true. Chen Ning nodded with a smile. The eldest princess took in a cold breath and looked at her in disbelief. You actually made this bet with him? Don't you know that this stinky brat knows how to use the cloud-piercing arrows? And the arrows don't miss? This, I also know. Chen Ning said with a smile. Then you still made a bet with him. Aren't you going to lose without a doubt? What are you betting on? Tell this princess, what kind of treasure do you fancy? Chen Ning pointed at the date red horse behind her. It's this horse. If I win, the horse will be mine. If I lose, I will have to kowtow to him and give up my position. When the eldest princess heard this, she flew into a rage. She forcefully swung the horse whip and scolded, "Shameless brat, daring to bully my sister. Ning, you don't need to worry. This princess will order you to cancel this bet, this stinky brat won't dare disagree." She angrily charged out to find Chu Xiaoyang, but Chen Ning held her back with a smile. "Princess Royal, please don't be angry. I will definitely win this bet." How? How will you win? Do you know the rules of the hunt? The one who shoots the most prey wins, there is no cheating. Although this princess is a noble princess, I can't be biased towards you. Eldest princess can be assured, I also know the rules. Since it's a bet, it has to be fair. I will make sure he loses convincingly. Chen Ning smiled as she looked at Chu Xiaoyang not far away. Are you sure you can win? The eldest princess didn't believe it at all. You, Chen, Ning, Chen King, Chen Ning, Chen, Ning, Chen. Does the eldest princess not believe in Ning's archery skills? Chen Ning smiled as she tried to keep her in suspense. All right, since you say this, I'll believe you. But you don't need to be afraid. If you lose and that stinky brat dares to bully you, I won't forgive him. I'll accept my loss. Chen Ning said with a smile, Eldest princess, it's getting late, we can start now. The eldest princess nodded. She jumped onto the white horse and her phoenix eyes were filled with power as she looked over the crowd. Chapter 303. The eyes of the youths flashed with an excited glow as they all looked at the eldest princess. They saw the eldest princess slowly raise the horse whip in her hand and drop it down. The hunt begins. As soon as her voice fell, the youths on horseback charged out like wild horses. They carried their bows on their backs and rode their horses, charging into the forest in the hunting grounds. Chu Xiaoyang was the first to charge out. His purple robe fluttered in the wind as he rode his jade flower horse away, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. There was only the eldest princess, Yiting Xian, and Chen Ning left in the center of the field. That stinky brat, he actually ran off without waiting for you. He really deserves to die. The eldest princess angrily swung her horse whip as she stared in the direction Chu Xiaoyang ran off in. Her heart was filled with regret towards Chen Ning. She wanted to repay Chen Ning, so she thought of this method to bring the two of them together, but she never thought that it would backfire. Seeing that Chu Xiaoyang was ignoring Chen Ning, being so heartless, she was afraid that Chen Ning would be sad. She pulled Chen Ning's hand and said, Ning, come with me and Ting Xian. We'll go into the forest together, we can take care of each other. Chen Ning shook her head with a smile and said, Eldest princess, it's best if you go with husband Yi. Otherwise, if we catch some prey, others will say that the eldest princess is biased towards me. She jumped onto the date-red horse and with a clench of her legs, the date-red horse followed behind everyone as they charged into the forest. This forest was very large and the trees were very dense. It was a good time for prey to move out. She was already lagging behind the others, and by the time she entered the forest, the youths who were fighting to be the first had already disappeared. The trees covered the sky and it was as if she was the only person left in this world. Chen Ning took the bow from the back of the horse and took out a golden feather arrow. The arrow's shaft was wrapped in bronze and there was a Ning word engraved on it. Spring was the season for wild beasts to move out and adding in the large amounts of prey in the hunting grounds. There were chickens, rabbits, and other small beasts everywhere in the forest. She was not in a rush to hunt as she leisurely rode her horse through the forest. The competition time was 8 hours, so she still had a lot of time to waste. Chu Xiaobai did not come back to help her like he said. Chen Ning knew that he was delayed by something, but it was a good thing she had already thought of a way to win. She had even rejected Imo Chuan's request to secretly help her. To win, not only did she have to rely on herself, she had to win beautifully. Idiot! You haven't even caught a rabbit and you want to win against this king. In your dreams. With the sound of horse hooves, the jade flower horse flew over as fast as lightning. The young man on the horse was wearing a fluttering purple robe and had a handsome face. It was Chu Xiaoyang. The horse's bow was filled with prey, rabbits, deer, and pheasants. Each prey had a white feather arrow stuck in its fatal spot, and the arrow shaft was engraved with the word Yang. He coldly looked at Chen Ning and then rode past her without any hesitation. He was indeed the godly arrow king that everyone praised. He had only entered the forest for a short while, but he had already returned with a bountiful harvest. There was so much prey that even his horse could not carry them all. Chen Ning knew that he was going back to the hunting grounds, so she smiled until her eyes narrowed. She followed the horse's instructions and gradually entered the depths of the forest. She saw a huge tree not far ahead. It was as thick as two people wrapping their arms around it. The trunk was straight and there were many small blue flowers blooming on it. She urged her horse forward and reached out to pluck a flower to wear. Suddenly, she heard a loud shout behind her. Chapter 304. Chen Ning turned around and saw that Chu Xiaoyang had unknowingly appeared not far behind her. His eyes were staring right at her with a ferocious expression. He slowly raised the iron bow in his hand and took out a white feather arrow. He slowly pulled the bow and pointed the arrow at her. "Don't move," he shouted in a sharp voice. His expression actually contained a trace of nervousness. The surroundings were completely silent. There was only the sound of the wind blowing through the forest leaves. Chen Ning revealed a smile. She slowly took back the hand that was picking the flower and fixed her hair. Then she said as if nothing had happened, "Your timing is very good. There is no one here, so it's perfect for you to silence them." Chu Xiaoyang gritted his teeth and his fingers suddenly loosened. The white feather arrow let out a sharp whistle as it cut through the air. It brought with it a chilling aura as it flew at her. She did not even have time to react before the white feather arrow flew past her ear. With a duo sound, it deeply pierced into the tree behind her. What did he mean by this? Was he deliberately trying to scare her? Chen Ning knit her brows and saw Chu Xiaoyang throw away his bow. He jumped off his horse and threw himself at her. He grabbed her arm and pulled her off the horse. "You!" She did not even have time to say anything before he grabbed her and rolled several times on the ground. When they stopped, the two of them were in a very sorry state. Their hair and bodies were covered in dirt and grass. "Chu Xiaoyang, what are you?" Chen Ning did not even finish before Chu Xiaoyang covered her mouth. His eyes were tightly locked in front of him and his muscles were tightly stretched, just like a cheetah waiting to pounce. She immediately realized that something had happened. Following his gaze, she broke out in a cold sweat and the hairs on her arms stood up. He saw that on the tree full of blue flowers in front of him, something had suddenly appeared. It was wriggling, and the blue flowers moved with it. Taking a closer look, they weren't blue flowers at all. They were actually two giant snakes covered in blue spots. One of the snakes had a white feather arrow stuck in it and was nailed to the tree. The other giant snake was spitting out its long tongue and making a hissing sound. The light coming from the snake's eyes made her tremble. Snake! She was not afraid of the heavens or earth, but she was afraid of this kind of soft and slippery creature, especially this kind of terrifying giant snake. Normal snakes were not poisonous, but this giant snake in front of her had a triangular head and its body was covered in blue spots, so it must be extremely poisonous. Suddenly, there was a flash of blue light in front of her and the giant snake shot out like lightning. It opened its mouth full of poisonous fangs and spat out a long blood-red tongue as it viciously bit at Chen Ning. Chu Xiaoyang's left hand suddenly reached out and lured the giant snake to bite him. The snake changed its target and bit his left arm, sinking its teeth deep into his flesh. At this time, his right hand came out and with a muffled ping sound, the giant snake's head hit his head. This punch was very powerful, and the giant snake's head was immediately flattened. It lay limply on the ground, motionless. Escaping from death, Chen Ning let out a long sigh of relief. Looking down, she saw that there were several deep teeth marks on Chu Xiaoyang's left arm. It had already turned purple and was currently leaking black blood. "You!" She bit her lip and couldn't say anything for a moment. If he hadn't intentionally lured the snake to bite her, she would have been the one being bitten. Chapter 305. Chu Xiaoyang bent over to pick up the longbow on the ground. Before he could stand up, he gave a violent shudder. The snake venom filled his body and his body swayed. With a put-ong sound, he was like a piece of wood as he fell to the ground, sprawling out on his back. The position he fell in was too ugly. He struggled to stand up, but the snake venom acted too quickly. In this short amount of time, his four limbs had already turned numb and he couldn't even move a finger. Chu Xiaoyang. A shadow suddenly appeared in front of him. Chen Ning walked in front of him and her bright eyes looked at him without blinking. Why did you save me? Stop talking nonsense. The only thing he could move was his tongue, but it was not listening to him anymore. Come here, take out the short knife on my waist. Although he could not move, his sharp aura did not decrease at all. Chen Ning touched his waist and took out a snow-white knife. I'll give you two choices now. 1. Stab this knife into my heart. 2. Use it to cut off my left arm. Choose for yourself, now. He shouted in a sharp voice. What do you mean? She looked at him with a frown. Either you kill this king, or you cut off this king's arm. However, this king is warning you, as long as this king lives, this king will torture you until you die. Chen Ning, if you are a smart person, you should know what it means to end everything once and for all. Chu Xiaoyang revealed a fiendish smile, making his handsome face become twisted. Did he want her to stab him to death with a single stab? Chen Ning slowly raised the knife. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes did not even blink as he revealed a strange fiendish smile on his face. This smile was already frozen on his face because the muscles on his face had already become stiff. Her knife suddenly fell down, but it fell on his left arm. She quickly cut the place where the poisonous fangs had bitten twice and a large amount of poisonous blood began to pour out. Chu Xiaoyang, if you want to die, then I won't let you die. You want to torture me, all right, then you can continue living. We'll see who tortures who to death. She said these words through gritted teeth. Then she placed her mouth on his wound and forcefully sucked on the poisonous blood. She sucked and spat it out. The stench of the poisonous blood was pungent, but she continued to suck in mouthful after mouthful. Only when the blood flowing out of his wound had turned bright red did she raise her head and wipe away the black blood at the corner of her mouth with a look of disgust. It stinks. Chu Xiaoyang, did you grow up eating shit? Why is your blood so smelly? Chu Xiaoyang's eyes turned red as he stared at her. If he could still move, he would not hesitate to strangle this woman to death. Her tongue was even more venomous than the blue flower giant snake. The veil on her face had already fallen off during the tumbling just now, and what he saw was her face covered in thick rouge and makeup. The corners of her mouth were stained with purplish black blood, and her long hair was messy and stained with dirt and grass. She looked dirty and ugly. Although she had sucked out Chu Xiaoyang's poisonous blood, the poison had already entered his body. If she did not have the antidote, he would die without a doubt. Although she had sucked out Chu Xiaoyang's poisonous blood, the poison had already entered his body. If she did not have the antidote, he would die without a doubt. As long as there was a place with poisonous snakes, there would be an antidote within 7 steps. Chapter 306. Could this ash-white mushroom be the antidote to the snake's poison? She didn't care if it was or not. She picked up a few mushrooms and returned to Chu Xiaoyang's side, directly shoving them into his mouth. Eat it. Woo, woo, woo. I'm not eating it. Chu Xiaoyang forcefully gritted his teeth. His eyes seemed like they were about to burst into flames as he angrily stared at Chen Ning. What did this ugly girl think he was? A rabbit. She was actually giving him raw mushrooms. Rabbits did not eat mushrooms. Not to mention that he hated mushrooms the most. You're not eating it. You have to eat it even if you don't want to. Chen Ning actually understood his meaning. His muscles were stiff and his teeth were not tightly clenched. She pinched his chin and shoved the mushrooms into his mouth one by one. Chu Xiaoyang's cheeks puffed up and his mouth was filled with raw mushrooms. He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Why are you staring at me? Quickly swallow it. These mushrooms are the antidote to the snake's poison. If you don't eat it, you'll die. Chen Ning did not want to explain, but when she looked down and saw his puffed-up face, he looked like an angry toad. Her mood suddenly became much better. So she was trying to save him. The anger in Chu Xiaoyang's eyes slightly extinguished, but it quickly burned again. This damn girl, she had stuffed his mouth full of mushrooms, how could he swallow it? He did not even have the strength to chew. Hey, why aren't you eating it? Are you dead? Chen Ning waited for a while and saw that he was still puffing up his cheeks. She poked his cheeks in confusion and found that his skin was still warm and elastic. He wasn't dead. Woo, 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 woo. You're the one who's dead. Chu Xiaoyang angrily cursed in his heart. Oh, I understand, you can't chew it. Chen Ning patted her forehead and suddenly realized something. She dug the mushrooms out of his mouth one by one. Forget it. Seeing that you saved me earlier, I'll be a good person to the end. This miss will chew it up and feed it to you. She was disgusted that the mushrooms in his mouth were covered in his saliva, so she went to pick some new mushrooms and chewed them up. Then she went to the horse's back to get a water bag. Chu Xiaoyang, these mushrooms might have antidotes, but they might also have a strong poison. If you don't eat them, you'll die. If you eat them, you might also die. Chen Ning's mouth was filled with mushroom dregs as she spoke in an unclear voice. When he heard this, he was so angry that he almost exploded again. What the F***ck are you talking about? Wait a minute. She was going to feed him. You're not going to feed me mouth to mouth, are you? His eyes widened in horror as he saw her face slowly coming closer. I'd rather die. He shouted angrily. Dream on. Chen Ning understood the meaning in his eyes. She spat out the mushroom in her mouth onto her hand and forcefully spat out, "This miss thinks you're dirty." She pinched his chin and stuffed the mushroom bits into his mouth. She picked up the water bag and poured several mouthfuls of water into his mouth. Cough, cough, cough. Chu Xiaoyang choked on the water and began to violently cough. His eyes popped out and his face turned completely red as he stared at Chen Ning without blinking. This damned woman, how dare she feed him something she had chewed? She thought he was dirty. When he thought about how the food he had just swallowed had come out of her mouth after chewing it, he felt nauseous. Cool. He really wanted to vomit. Chapter 307. She picked a large handful of mushrooms this time and stuffed them all into her mouth. Then she spat out a large pile of mushroom dregs. Chu Xiaoyang stared at the mushroom dregs in her hand and forcefully gritted his teeth. He couldn't eat it. He couldn't eat it no matter what. Chen Ning completely ignored his resisting eyes. She opened his chin and stuffed the mushroom dregs into his mouth before pouring down another bag of water. Cool. Chu Xiaoyang coughed until tears came out. If he could move, he would have killed her without any hesitation. Chen Ning had really stumbled into this by accident. The ash-white mushrooms really were the antidote to the snake poison. Chu Xiaoyang felt his numb limbs slowly regain some feeling, but it was only feeling. If he wanted to move a finger, it would be very hard. But he understood in his heart that his life had been saved. But he did not feel any gratitude towards Chen Ning at all. Thinking of the mushrooms she had fed him mixed with her saliva, he was filled with shame and anger. His eyes wished he could poke a hole in Chen Ning's face. Look at your disdainful expression. Is it because you feel uncomfortable eating this princess's saliva? Chen Ning hugged her knees as she sat beside him, looking at him with a smile. She saw the anger in his eyes and quickly understood the meaning in his eyes. Chu Xiaoyang's face turned purple like an eggplant. Could this ugly woman not mention the word saliva? What, you don't want others to know about this? Chen Ning blinked and once again guessed what he was thinking. Chu Xiaoyang tightly pursed his lips and forcefully looked to the side, not looking at her at all. Wu, of course you don't want others to know. Alright, I won't tell anyone, but I have a request. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes turned back and he suspiciously stared at her. I want to win. Chen Ning raised her brows and said word for word. Wu, Wu. In your dreams. He glared at her. This isn't up to you to decide, it's up to me now. Chen Ning patted the dirt off her body and stood up. She giggled as she walked beside the jade flower horse. The horse was filled with game and she unceremoniously took it all off. Chu Xiaoyang stared at her without blinking. He did not understand what she was doing. Ze, your arrows truly do not miss. You are truly worthy of being called the Divine Arrow King by everyone. Chen Ning smiled as she praised him, but when Chu Xiaoyang heard it, it was filled with mockery. Then he saw Chen Ning pull out the white feather arrow from an antelope and insert the golden feather arrow with the Ning word engraved on it. He immediately understood what she meant. Woo, 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 woo. He was furious. How could there be such a shameless woman in this world? He actually thought of this kind of method to replace the beam with the pillar. She actually dared to openly take his prey as her own in front of his eyes. What eye is? Of course I'm hunting. Could it be that your eyes are for breathing? Chen Ning said with a smile that angered people to death. The most annoying thing was that every time she pulled out a white feather arrow and replaced it with a gold feather arrow, she would first glance at Chu Xiaoyang and then slowly say something. Qing. 3. 5. All of them were shot by me. Chu Xiaoyang's lungs were about to explode, but he could not move at all. He could not use any strength at all. Chapter 308. Chen Ning placed a large pile of golden arrows on the date-red horse's back. Of course, she also left a few normal pheasants and rabbits for Chu Xiaoyang. Otherwise the respected highness with the title of divine archer would not be able to catch a single prey, which would raise everyone's suspicions. Chen Ning raised the dagger again and the blade glowed. She rubbed Chu Xiaoyang's cheeks. She revealed a calm smile and said, Are you very angry? Wu, being angry will make your blood flow faster. The poison in your body has not been cleared yet, so being angry will only harm you. Didn't you just lose a horse to me? You wouldn't be so stingy that you can't even lose a horse, right? She was in a good mood, but seeing Chu Xiaoyang's eyes roll back from her anger and how he was exhaling more than he was inhaling, she was worried that he would be angered to death. After all, he had just saved her, so she could only close her mouth. She saw that his arm was still bleeding, so she cut off a piece of his clothes with the dagger. She wrapped it around his wound and tied it tightly. Alright, this way you won't die from bleeding too much. She clapped her hands and said. Chu Xiaoyang's brows jumped up. She was still cursing him to die. Could this ugly woman shut her mouth? He tightly closed his eyes and did not even look at her. His nostrils were still breathing heavily. No matter what she did, he would never be grateful to her. Woo, it's getting late, we should go back. Chen Ning looked up at the light coming through the gaps in the leaves and estimated the time. It seemed like they had been here for quite some time already. She strenuously helped him up, using almost all of her strength to get him onto the horse's back, and then she slung him over the jade flower horse's shoulder like a ragged sack. "You're so heavy. Why are you heavier than a pig?" She wiped the sweat off her forehead and complained in a snappy voice. "Woo, woo, woo, woo. You dare call this king a pig?" Chu Xiaoyang wanted to move his mouth, but he found that his tongue was like a piece of wood, not feeling anything at all. His stomach was stuck to the hard saddle and his head was low. His blood was flowing backwards and he felt dizzy. Even if he wanted to speak, he couldn't. Chen Ning jumped onto the date red horse and held the jade flower horse's reins with one hand. After identifying the direction, she slapped Chu Xiaoyang's raised butt and shouted, "Come with me." She actually dared to hit his butt. Chu Xiaoyang's face instantly turned red and his eyes popped out. He almost spat out a mouthful blood. Woo, 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 woo. Chen Ning led the jade flower dog through the lush forest. There were no roads in the forest. Chu Xiaoyang came here every year to hunt, but this forest was very vast. Even he did not know where they were or how far they were from the center of the hunting grounds. But Chen Ning did not hesitate at all when she found the direction. It was as familiar as if she had returned to her own home. An hour later, they had already passed through the forest. In the distance, they could see banners fluttering in the wind, and laughter and clamor. Many youths that had just returned from hunting were happily gathered together, showing off their archery skills and prey. Chen Ning led the jade flower horse into the hunting ground. "Look! The Ding Yuan princess is back. There seems to be a large fellow on the horse beside her, perhaps it's a large wild boar." That's not a large wild boar, it's more like King Ding Yuan. Chapter 309. Chu Xiaoyang was ashamed. Every time he went hunting in the past, he would ride the jade flower horse and return with a full load of prey, winning everyone's praise. But today, he was being carried on the back of a horse like a wild boar. He had lost all his face. He lowered his head, wishing he could dig his head into the ground. "Chen Ning. Father hates you to death. Ning, why did you only come back now? Where's that stinky brat Chu Xiaoyang?" Xiaoyang, what happened to him?" The eldest princess rode her white horse through the crowd of youths and came out to greet them. Although she was angry at Chu Xiaoyang for being heartless, he was still her blood-related nephew and they were connected by blood. Seeing Chu Xiaoyang not moving at all on the back of the horse, she revealed a look of worry. "Woo, he was bitten by a snake in the forest and was poisoned. Although I found some mushrooms for him to eat, temporarily suppressing the poison in his body, he still can't move. The eldest princess should quickly find a doctor to treat him." Chen Ning's face did not turn red as she spoke in a calm voice. Not a single word she said was false, but when Chu Xiaoyang heard this, he was filled with rage. "If it wasn't to save an ugly monster like you, father wouldn't have been bitten by a snake." Chu Xiaoyang was carried into the tent and the accompanying doctor quickly came to take his pulse. Then he gave him a prescription to clear the poison. After taking the medicine, he fell into a deep sleep. "Doctor, is there anything wrong with him?" The eldest princess stood in front of the bed and looked at him with a worried expression. Reporting to the eldest princess, His Highness' body is strong. Although the snake poison is strong, the princess has already fed His Highness the right antidote, so most of the poison has already been removed. After taking this humble minister's medicine, when His Highness wakes up, the poison in his body will be completely cleared. But for the sake of His Highness' body, this humble minister suggests that he rest in bed for 2 days. The imperial physician answered respectfully and bragged about his medical skills without leaving a trace. All right, thank you for the trouble. Go and receive your reward. The eldest princess' heart fell back into her stomach as she sent the doctor away. When she heard that Chu Xiaoyang was fine, her anger towards him rose again. She glared at the unconscious Chu Xiaoyang on the bed and then turned around to grab Qin Ning's hand. Ning, it's all thanks to you saving this stinky brat's life, otherwise he would have already gone to hell. When he wakes up, I will fiercely scold him. If he doesn't treat you well, this princess will tell my royal brother to divorce that concubine and punish him by never taking another concubine. He will only recognize you as his wife in the future. Qin Ning was shocked and she shook her hands. She could not accept the eldest princess' kind intentions. She did not want to be trapped by Chu Xiaoyang's side for the rest of her life. What? You're not willing. The eldest Chen's face. I'm not willing. Qin Ning gave a light cough and said with a serious expression. You want? Don't you want him to treat you wholeheartedly? As long as he divorces that concubine, he will only have you as his legal wife. Adding on the fact that you saved him, he will definitely treat you well. That stinky brat is not a heartless person, he. Chapter 310. You don't like him. In the past, you. The eldest princess hesitated. I was blind in the past, that's why I liked him. Now that he has a woman he loves and has abandoned me, I, Qin Ning, am a person with integrity. If he doesn't want me, then I don't care about him. If the eldest princess really wants to help Ning, I want to ask the eldest princess for a favor. Qin Ning looked at the eldest princess. Good. Well said, Ning, I really didn't misjudge you. Us women, why should we lower ourselves to men? The eldest princess raised her brows and patted her shoulder in praise. She said in a straightforward manner, just say whatever you want. As long as this princess can help, this princess will help you fulfill your wish. Qin Ning's words were to her liking and she couldn't help but treat Qin Ning as a close friend. Yiting Xian stood on the side without making a sound. His eyes lit up as he looked at the eldest princess and then he gave a slight nod. He had already guessed what Qin Ning wanted, only. His eyes fell onto Chu Xiaoyang's face on the bed and his two handsome brows slightly knit. This King Ding Yuan, he did not seem like a cold and emotionless person. Could there be some secret behind this? Ning wants to ask the eldest princess. I want to separate from Chu Xiaoyang and I ask the eldest princess to bring Ning into the palace to see the emperor. Ning wants to ask the emperor for a decree to divorce my husband. Qin Ning's eyes were filled with determination as she said this without any hesitation. What did you say? You want to separate from him? You want to divorce your husband? The eldest princess was shocked as she looked at Qin Ning with a look of disbelief. She saw Qin Ning's determined expression and knew that she was not joking, she was serious. But Ning, this is an impossible matter. If you want to separate, perhaps the emperor will agree, but divorce your husband? There has never been such a precedent in my West Chu country. Although he doesn't treat you well, you can forget about divorcing your husband. Divorcing him is the same as divorcing the royal family's face. My royal brother will definitely not agree. She gave a sigh as she spoke. Her words were filled with sincerity. If these words were said by someone else, she would have already been enraged. But she truly liked Qin Ning, that was why she said these heartfelt words to her. Qin Ning's heart was filled with gratitude as she nodded and said, many thanks for the eldest princess reminder. Since it's like this, then I'll separate from him. Can the eldest princess bring me into the palace to see the emperor? Her eyes flashed with an expectant light. She knew that Chu Xiaoyang would never bring her into the palace, only the eldest princess could help her with this matter. She believed that she could convince the emperor to agree to her request. Although she had never met the emperor before, she had heard of him. For example, the marriage between her and Chu Xiaoyang was decided by the emperor's personal decree. This showed that the emperor valued her father, so he fulfilled her wish. Since the emperor could agree to her marriage for General Shin, he should also agree to her divorce for her father's sake. Chapter 3:11. Chen Ning's eyes looked over at the silent Yiting Xian beside the eldest princess. With a faint smile, she said, Ning is bold and wants to ask the eldest princess a question. If there is a day that husband Yi marries a concubine, what will you do? If he regretted it and changed his mind, would you still reconcile with him? Of course not. The eldest princess blurted out. Her phoenix eyes glared at Yiting Xian. If he dares to marry a concubine, this princess will immediately divorce him. Yiting Xian's face turned slightly red and a trace of anger flashed across his brows. Cool. Chen Ning quickly pouted her lips at the eldest princess. The eldest princess finally realized her slip of the tongue and immediately said, Of course, Ting Xian will not betray me, he will definitely not marry a concubine. This princess is very lucky, being able to meet a person like him who treats this princess wholeheartedly. Her flattery was just right. Chen Ning couldn't help secretly finding this funny. Yiting Xian gave a snort and whispered in the eldest princess' ear, Next time you speak without thinking, this prince will also divorce you. This sentence was so low that only the eldest princess could hear it. His words could be considered disgraceful, but not only was the eldest princess not angry, it was like she had eaten a spoonful of honey. The man she liked should be like this, he definitely wouldn't follow her orders just because of her identity as the eldest princess, not giving her any face. Cool. Chen Ning looked at the eldest princess and Yiting Xian's affectionate and sweet appearance. She was happy that the two of them were in love, but she couldn't help reminding the eldest princess that there was an outsider like her in front of them. The eldest princess finally came back to her senses. Her heroic face had a blush that added a bit of charm to it. Ning, I understand your meaning. Since you've already made your decision, this princess will of course think of a way to fulfill your heart. There was still a bit of regret on her face as she stared at Chu Xiaoyang on the bed and said, It's all this brat's fault, letting down a good girl like you. Chu Xiaoyang's eyes were closed, but his brows moved a bit, but he was still in a deep sleep. The eldest princess thought about it and said to Chen Ning, It isn't hard for you to enter the palace. Every year on the 10th day of the 4th month, the palace will hold a flower banquet, inviting all the ministers and families to the palace to enjoy the flowers. This princess will send a decree this year and have Chu Xiaoyang bring you into the palace, this brat won't dare disobey. When you see the emperor, you can act accordingly. This princess will be by your side and this princess will help, so your wish will be fulfilled. Chen's heart burst with joy. She bowed and said, Ning's heart. You don't have to thank this princess yet. There are still a few days, I hope you can think about it carefully. After all, this is related to your life's happiness. The eldest princess looked at her and a trace of regret flashed in her eyes. Chen Ning smiled and changed the topic, Eldest princess, I wonder who will be the winner of this year's hunt. Ning wants to know, did I bring back more prey, or did he bring back more? She looked at Chu Xiaoyang with a smile. It's lucky you reminded me, this princess forgot about this matter. Come, let's go take a look. This princess thinks that you will definitely win. Thanks to your reminder, this princess had forgotten about this important matter. Come, let's go out and take a look. This princess thinks that you will definitely win. The eldest princess pulled her hand and with a laugh, they walked out of the tent. Yiting Xian slightly shook his head at Chu Xiaoyang. With a sigh, he also left. Yiting Xian slightly shook his head at Chu Xiaoyang. With a sigh, he also left. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.